Today is the beginning of the end and the start of a new beginning. Time has come to refine yourself and let go of the demons in your head that have held you in captivity for so long. It's time to flip the page and prove them wrong. It's time for rebirth. Yeah, time's up to say goodbye to all the haters, doubters, and non-believers trying to bring you down. In the blink of an eye, you'll realize that there's so much more to the book than the page you were stuck on. Finally, you will be free to live a life you love living instead of the life you think other people want you to live. Remember, you're the highest authority when it comes to knowing what you want and what you love. So stop trading yourself for the approval from others. Ladies and gentlemen, weirdos and geeks, please repeat after me. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a I don't give a fuck. 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 It's time to start doing the right thing. So trust your instinct, stop listening to others, and own your decisions. People will always tell you what to do, speak and how to live. So let's create space for what matters most to you. You'll be glad you did. Now start claiming your time and your mental well-being by saying no more. No more. Say it loudly and proudly. In other words, fuck you. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
Target acquired.
Eagle 1, first strike, you have permission to engage the target.
Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Mature audiences only. Probably don't have anybody here just yet. It was a close one today. I almost did not make it. Give me a second. I'm going to spam everything out, and we'll get this thing started off. Let's do the spamination. Get people to come out. Watch my show. Since nobody's here, I'm just going to ramble, bullshit a little bit. Got a lot going on today. It's going to be a good time for one and all, especially me. And we're going to make it happen, Captain. Yeah, still no one here. That's okay. We'll see if we can't pull some people in. We shall see. In the meantime, while I'm sitting around just kind of talking and bullshitting, it's got some stuff going on. A lot of cool stuff. It's going to be a good show, especially if you want to talk about money. If you want to talk about money, I got you, bro. We're going to talk about some really good stuff today. I promise. All right, we're getting down to the wire here of the places that I spam my stuff to. That's enough of the spamming. We'll get it going on here. All right, guys. So welcome into the show. I am running a little behind today. Didn't mean to. Just seems to come out that way sometimes when when I got stuff going on out there in the actual real world, as we say. We're going to talk today. We're going to get into something that's especially if you are looking to make money, or you own a business, or you want to own a business, or any of that kind of thing. You're really going to want to pay attention today, because this matters. This is good. This is stuff that actually matters, and I'm going to get into it really soon. First, I'd like to get some people in here, but we have just don't have as many as we should, and that's okay. It's okay. It does not offend me. In the meantime, we should talk about some other things that are going on out there in the world. My new show is getting ready to launch in January. We are on track with that, 100%. The teaser reel should be out by the end of the week. We'll see how that works out. And got a few other things going on. Give me 1 second. The two of you who are in here right now, I got to adjust something. I'll be right back. And just like that, I'm back. All right, guys. So one of the things we're going to talk about today is everybody's watching Piers Morgan and Nick Fuentes. Yeah, for sure. Unfortunately, I do my show the same time every day. They'll just have to come back in. But yeah, that's very true. That's very true. And to be honest, I would be watching that if I wasn't doing my show. I watched Crowder the other day when he had Fuentes on. That was very interesting. I got to be honest with you. I don't really see what the hype is around Fuentes. He doesn't actually believe the things that I believe, and he doesn't actually appeal to the things that I think make America great. He says a couple of things, a few things that I think are important, but for the most part, I just don't agree with a vast majority of what he says, and I think that he's really riding a hype wave because he's young and he says a bunch of things. I figured that out, Rays. I figured that out. Yeah, he flip-flops a lot, and he'll say, yeah, I didn't really mean to say that, but that he meant to say that. And that's okay. Look, he's entitled to his beliefs. He's entitled to his opinions. I think it was wrong of people to go out and try and, take him off the internet and do all of those other things. I think that was all wrong. However, I just don't believe anything Fuentes says. Not that he's lying. I just don't think that he believes it. I think that he says things specifically to garner attention, which is, hey, that's what politicians do. And I consider him a politician. What's up, Otis Drift One? Good to see you. I actually saw that you just posted up the Twitter that you were going to be out on Twitter. I was kind of paying attention there. Yeah, I agree with that, Ray's Moto Life. I agree 100%. So anyway, and while I know that there's a lot of people out there who are really going to think that for whatever reason that what Fuentes has to say is going to be different than the things he said 1,000 times before, I don't really. I'll watch it eventually, I promise. I will watch Piers Morgan and Nick Fuentes. I just don't think there's going to be anything that's life altering for me. But what I have to talk about today, it's going to be interesting because, and it's really pertinent to what I'm going through right now. So as you guys know, I'm setting up a new channel. It's a completely different channel than this one. It is it's its own entity. So what I've had to do is I've had to go into the way that I've structured my business and change it quite a bit, to be honest. And this may get a little boring. I hope it doesn't, but basically the way that my business is structured now is I have a single LLC that holds this channel and the money that comes from it. It doesn't actually make enough yet to matter how that money is dispersed, but when it does matter, that was going to have to change. I knew it was always going to have to change at some point. A pass-through LLC is kind of interesting. So with the new channel, and because I'm expecting to monetize that channel through partnerships, through product placement, through things of that nature, what that actually means to me is that, well, I have to now change some things, right? And one of the things I kind of have to change is I have to change the way the LLCs are structured. So I'm starting a new LLC that is a holding LLC. It's literally Media Holding LLC, right? And then below that will be this channel, and it will be wholly owned by the holding company. And then the new channel also held completely by the holding company. There's reasons for that. And there's tax issues and that sort of thing that I'm working through right now. And I'm trying to get them all done before Jan 1 so that it's a clean transition from this year to next year and I don't have a bunch of stuff going on. So as I'm sitting here going through all of this, and there's a lot of stuff that you don't understand, and even at the state level with the way that your taxes have to be handled. And one of those things is that if, for example, you do business here in Tennessee, but you actually are an LLC or a company somewhere else. You're an entity in another state. Tennessee has a foreign entity tax that you have to be aware of. You have to register that company as a foreign entity, right? So, and you're doing business in Tennessee. That's so that any state sales tax that's owed gets paid to the state of Tennessee when you do business here. Now, we've got a situation where there's a guy out there. You may have heard of him. His name is Cody Detweiler. He owns a channel called Whistling Diesel. Makes millions of dollars destroying shit. He was arrested a few weeks ago. I think about 3 weeks ago. He was arrested because of tax evasion. He was arrested for tax evasion. What the state of Tennessee is saying is that Cody bought a Ferrari. It looks like he might have bought it in Tennessee from the Nashville Ferrari dealer. I don't know. That hasn't been revealed, and I'm not going to go back through 2 years of fucking Whistling Diesel video to find out. I believe he bought it from the Nashville Ferrari dealer. I could be wrong. Doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. The car was registered to an LLC owned by Whistling Diesel or Whistling Diesel Inc. or however it's owned. And that LLC is a holding company for the assets of Whistling Diesel, such as vehicles and equipment and things like that. And what this does is it really, Montana has some really good laws when it comes to not paying taxes on or paying low taxes on vehicles and it's easy to title them. And it's easy for an LLC to own the vehicles without a lot of extra nonsense. And that's why there are more supercars registered in the state of Montana than anywhere else in the country. Okay. And most of the time, this is not a problem. However, what it looks like is Whistling Diesel bought this Ferrari, registered it to his holding company. We're not sure how much time it actually spent in Tennessee, but it wasn't a lot. And he ended up that car burned to the ground. It no longer exists. He caught it on fire and all of that. And so what Tennessee is saying is that because he bought the car, regardless of the fact that it was sold to and registered to an entity in Montana, Tennessee is owed the sales tax. And this very well could be the case because Cody has a business in Tennessee, an LLC in Tennessee that he uses. So either of these two things can be the case. Either it is a case of Tennessee's foreign entity law, even though the business is registered in Montana, the fact that the car is here to be used for business in the state of Tennessee may mean that sales tax or use tax needs to be collected on that vehicle. So if you're going to do these kinds of things, it takes research, and you need a good accountant. And I know what you're thinking, because I thought the same thing. I thought, well, surely this guy doesn't do his own fucking taxes. Now, what Whistling Diesel says, and I believe him, is that he never got something saying, hey, you owe us, you never got a tax bill. He never got a letter saying pay up or we're going to come arrest you or anything else. You'll have to go to his channel, and I'll link the channel in the description later, but you'll have to watch the whole thing from his channel because I'm just going to blaze through this. But his accountant was reached out to buy the state of Tennessee. This is not the feds. This is the state of Tennessee. This is not a federal case. So that's actually one thing that's a little weird, but it's okay. We had, state of Tennessee collects sales tax and use tax, just like basically every other state. His accountant was contacted by TBI. I'm sure it's TBI. Maybe it was Wilson County or Williamson County detectives, whatever. So the accountant said, well, do we need to do anything about this? They basically reached out asking about the car and the use of it and some other vehicles and where he had LLCs, how many LLCs he had in Montana, a bunch of other things, which are public record. And they didn't need to call the accountant for that, but they did. When she asked, according to the state of Tennessee's own disclosure file, what their petition with the court, when the accountant said, should I reach out to Cody about this and see how we're going to resolve this? The investigator said, no, we would prefer that you not talk to Mr. Detweiler about this. And this was, I think, about almost a year ago. Okay. Now, this is, in my opinion, this is bad for this is a very bad look. I don't think this is going to go over very well in the courts, because at any moment, the state could have, this all could have been rectified with a simple phone call. It wasn't that Cody Whistling Diesel, it was not that Whistling Diesel was trying to avoid paying taxes specifically. He used an actual legal maneuver, something that's perfectly legal to do, that many people, including myself, do. It's totally legal. They're trying to basically do an end run around it, which they may be successful in. And I don't disagree that if the car was here and it was being used for filming and used by his LLC for filming and making money and all of that, then he probably does owe use tax. Now, how much that is, I don't know. And I don't think the state of Tennessee really knows. I don't think he owes sales tax on the car, because the car was sold, it looks like, to the entity in Montana, and the state of Tennessee was, the car just happened to be located in the state of Tennessee, right? Now, could be some laws about that, because I haven't looked into the laws for buying a car in Tennessee and moving it out of Tennessee and registering it, because in Tennessee, when you buy the car at the dealership, I don't pay sales tax at the dealership. When I go register the car, I pay the sales tax directly to the state based on the value of the car, what's written on the contract, or at least it's been that way for me so far. It could have changed. I haven't bought a new car in a while, and and generally I pay cash for cars, so I haven't had to do any financing or anything. So it could be the case that he does owe sales tax to the state of Tennessee. When he signed the paperwork, there may have been, he has 3 days or 7 days or whatever to pay the sales tax. That very well may be the case. I don't know. In any case, you're right, effing epic. It looks fucking crooked as shit for the state investigators to not seek a remedy when a remedy is easily, it's 20 grand. This guy doesn't care about 20 grand. He's going to spend more than that in legal fees. So what other motivation is there for this? Well, I don't know. And I don't know if it's, I know that he had a case against the state of Tennessee, against some law enforcement, and he won that. So maybe there's somebody, according to the documents the state has released, Whistling Diesel was implicated by a whistleblower, which means that somebody called the state of Tennessee and said, hey, this is what's going on. Now, and they acted on that. So I personally feel like that the state's going to walk away with this. No matter what, the state's going to look back. The next thing they did makes it look even worse. Now this this is not business related, but this is something that's very strange. They're basically saying that the state of Tennessee is saying that since Whistling Diesel has 2 million followers and he has a massive audience and he makes money on social media, that they want a gag order in place saying that he cannot make videos, he cannot talk to anyone about the case, he can't do anything about the case. This is the same thing they did with Trump. Because again, he has a bully pulpit with which he can scream. Now, this is part of your First Amendment, folks. This is how this is supposed to work. If the state is railroading me, I should be able to go to the press and say, hey, I'm being railroaded. I ought to be able to do that. So I think the gag order is very interesting to see. And I think the way they're doing it is very interesting. I don't know that they're going to get it. So I believe they're in court today, right now, about the gag order. Whether or not he's going to win, I don't know. We'll know this afternoon. And this is just going to come off looking bad on Williamson County and their prosecutors, in my opinion. And I think that my state, now Williamson County is very interesting, so it's gonna come out. Otis Driftwood, but the feds are not involved in this at all. There's nothing federal about this. This is all state level stuff. So I'm not really sure what you're referencing, but there's no federal involvement here at all. This is all state. And this is over again. It's like 20 grand in back taxes or taxes that they say he owes that they've never asked him to pay. They've never sent him a delinquency notice. They've never sent him anything about it. All they've done is talk to his accountant, and then they told the accountant not to talk to him about it. Now, I believe that the accountant probably did tell him about it, but we won't know that because that would be a privileged communication. He doesn't have to. The accountant, it works for him and is under contract and can't reveal those things. So, I got you, Otis. No big deal. So this is interesting, and it seems a little petty because it seems a little petty. Now, I think it's super interesting. And I think it's very interesting the way that they're going about this. If the car was registered in Montana, he paid the sales tax in Montana. It's going to be a hard ask to see why he would need to pay the sales tax in Tennessee. He bought the car. If he bought the car here and shipped it there, then Montana should not have had to pay sales tax in Montana. And he does owe the Tennessee state sales tax of 20 grand or whatever it is. And he just needs to pay that up. That's all. Just pay it. So this is going to be very interesting to follow. And it's going to be hard not to, it's going to be hard not to pay attention to it because this affects, again, I'm doing the same thing right now. And I'm not making a Montana LLC because I don't need to. But I mean, I looked at setting up a Montana LLC, but there's not really an advantage for me because I don't have, I'm not doing supercars and I'm not doing super expensive vehicles and all that kind of stuff. It just doesn't make any sense. There's no advantage. As a matter of fact, there's more of an advantage for me to be, to incorporate in Tennessee and use the Tennessee state laws to my advantage. So that's what's up. Well, I'm going to take a break here really quick. I saw a lot of people came in. I want to recognize all of the people who took time out of the awesome discussion going on over at Piers Morgan. Ray's Moto Life is in the house. That's Brandon Ray is Ray's Moto Life. Go watch his channel. It's really good. I don't have a link, but he does a really good show. Ray's Moto Life. Otis Driftwood is up in the house. That's cool. That's good to see you, sir. Mr. is in the house. That's always cool to see Mr. And he's we're talking about this quite a bit. We'll talk about Candace in a minute. I promise. And obviously, WMD, my loyal bot, is out in the house. The Raging Patriot, 1776, is in the house. Good to see you, sir. Effing Epic has made it in. Good to see you as well. And Natalia is here. Good to see you as well. We had great discussions over in the Discord this morning about about marriage, and we might get into that a little bit. And my man, Smoking Spaceman, out in the chat. Good to see you. Hey, Average Debate Enjoyers in the house. He's working, can't talk. Glare 1%ers up in the house. Piers is a leftist. I don't disagree with that, but he's more right than he has been left lately. So I'm okay with Piers. I like Piers. Normally you're working on something, but this month plus sickness is annoying you. Yeah, I haven't been sick a whole lot this year, but I count myself lucky on that. And my kids haven't been sick a lot this year. Yeah. All right, so the whistling diesel thing's really interesting. The state of Tennessee going after him for taxes and then not telling his attorney, that is just, it's not cricket, as they say. And I think it's going to look bad on the state. And I think it's going to be very, I think it's not going to, I don't think this is going to have a happy ending that we want to see, mainly because I think the state has some, like, they have some reason behind what they're doing and they believe in it. The problem is that Whistling Diesel has enough money to fight it in the legislature or in Tennessee, and it's going to be interesting. It's not fraud, so that they're basically saying tax evasion, right? There's no fraud. They're not talking about fraud, at least not yet. What they're saying is that he didn't pay his sales tax on a vehicle and he tried to evade it by registering the car in Montana. That's what they're trying to say, which I can actually argue both sides on this, because Tennessee does have a foreign entity clause in its tax base, in its tax structure. So even if you're a business outside of the state, to do business in Tennessee, you have to register as a foreign entity, it's not a new LLC. You have to file taxes, and I'm sure he does. I just think it's very weird. I think the whole thing is strange that they didn't ask him for the money before they decided to arrest him. What is the law? The law, well, there's a couple of different laws that apply here. So obviously they're trying to say that he evaded paying sales tax by registering the car in Montana to a corporation. They're saying that violates Tennessee state law, because if you buy it here, you have to pay tax here. And actually agree with that. Even if he says the company bought it, the company's located in Montana and tried to pay Montana state sales tax on it, it's still sold in the state of Tennessee. And even though it would be less because it's a corporate business tax and it's not an over-the-counter sale, there would still be tax on that. And so I think it's going to be, this is going to be one for the lawyers, but I find it very interesting. What's interesting is the way Tennessee went about doing this. What I believe they should have done is they should have, when they called his accountant, to build their case, they should have said, yes, if he pays the tax today, we're cool. Right? So that's kind of the question. They're not asking. I mean, Montana may have Montana may require you to pay tax as well. I don't know. That's a great question. It's an interesting dichotomy. And as I said, I'm setting up my corporations right now. Like they're on not this tab, but they're on a tab over here where I'm setting up all of my LLC stuff and all of my, I got to go to the bank later and set up my bank accounts. And I'm trying to get all of this done before the first of the year, so I have a clean start. And I don't have to worry about, some lingering nonsense from this year. That's why we're launching in January. If I get a better outcome by the law in a state other than the current operation, why not? Right. And there's nothing wrong with having, well, all right, look, so let's say you're located in another state, or where your business needs to be located is in another state, right? So let's just say that I'm going to buy the security company down in Atlanta, Georgia. I register, I maintain the LLC down there. Okay. But let's say I want them to work up here in Nashville too. I'm not going to open a new branch, but all I want to do is I want to do business in Nashville, right? I'm going to have my guys, my Atlanta company, come to Nashville and work here, right? Now, as far as Tennessee is concerned, if all they do is work, it's not a problem because there's no state income tax. There's no sales tax being collected. It's fine. But however, if those guys come up here and not only are they acting as security guards, let's say that they bring product with them like batons or whatever widget security guys use, and they go to they rent a space at something and they're doing business, right? We open up an office where we're selling stuff, right? Like physical stuff. Now Tennessee has a problem with what I'm doing because I need to be collecting Tennessee state sales tax. Hey, Otis Driftwood just gifted 5 memberships. That's awesome, bro. That's really good. So, and this is why this stuff can get really confusing, guys, because if I'm just driving a truck over here and picking something up, no problem. If all I'm doing is sending security guards over and it's just manpower, or I'm building I'm sending in construction workers or whatever, if that's all I'm doing, there's no problem. Okay? There's no problem. But if I start selling stuff, products, equipment, now it becomes a problem with the state of Tennessee, because now if I buy equipment here to use, now I have to pay sales and use tax. To do that, I have to register with the state as a foreign entity. Also, if I'm employing people that are residents of Tennessee, right? So if my security guys come up and they hire on 5 other guys, I still have to register as a foreign entity. Even though Tennessee doesn't collect sales tax, I still have to pay the what is that shit called? It's been a minute since I've had to do this myself. I have to pay the workman comp, Social Security, all that shit, right? So I have to pay all of that the state that's required. So I have to register as a foreign entity to do that in the state of Tennessee. And I have to file that paperwork at the end of the year, just like every other business that does business in the state of Tennessee. And now some states don't have that, right? But most states do. So, it gets complicated. That's why you need attorneys and accountants. And my problem with what Tennessee is doing is that they spoke to his accountant. They literally could have at any point said, yeah, you need to send us a check for $20,000 plus, whatever the penalty, or maybe that's with the penalties. So this is my problem with the state of Tennessee, what they're doing. Now, if they hadn't done that, if they had just asked him for the money and then he said, nah, fuck you guys, I don't do I don't do real business here, whatever, then I think they've got a case for actual tax evasion. They're using a bunch of circumstance, which kind of circumstantial evidence, but they're using a bunch of kind of circumstance to make it look like that he set out to defraud the taxpayers of Tennessee, basically, right? Like by avoiding tax. He's basically, the state of Tennessee is basically trying to say that he intended to not pay the sales tax on the Ferrari. I don't believe that was his intention, and they're not going to be able to prove a record of him avoiding sales tax or anything else. I really think the state of Tennessee is pissing up a rope. Yeah, it's I do think somebody has a beef with the guy. He a year or so ago, he had a court case with the sheriff's department or the TWRA, somebody like that, where an off-duty officer confronted him and his friends while they were jet skiing. It was a big deal. They ended up going, he got a ticket. He went to court over it. He made a bunch of social media about it. And the fact that this tip, came in from an unidentified source, it leads me to believe that their whistleblower or tipster or whatever you want to call him, whatever the case is, the person who tipped them off to this, I think, has an axe to grind. And I think honestly, I think Williamson County probably has a little bit of an axe to grind as well. I don't think it's going to end. I just don't see this going the way the state wants it to, or the city wants it to. And I just think I think it's going to end up looking really bad. And I don't want it to. I like my state. Otis Driftwood asked, I don't like lying. Should I lie to be a lawyer or get a position in government? I don't think you have to lie. I don't think you have to lie to be a lawyer. I think that's a popular misrepresentation. I looked into going to law school, and I never found a situation in any of the mock trials or anything else where I felt like I would need to lie. Mainly because I think that lawyers know enough to not ask questions they don't want the answers to, and to avoid having to lie. I have to represent a degen persona to be in power, but I hate it. I don't think you have to present a degen persona to be in power, but I hate it. You live in California. Yeah, California. Look, man, it sucks. I got out of California as I barely spent any time in California, even though we owned a house there. I don't think I ever spent more than 2 weeks at a time in California in like 3 years. Adam Bates says, wish he lived down in Georgia. I mean, I kind of do too, to be honest with you. But look, I know he used to live in my town. He's moved out a little further. The first place he had, I don't know what happened, but he doesn't use it anymore. He has another place. And so he's in Williamson County now towards Franklin. Still a nice area. Nothing wrong with it. I don't have a problem with him. Everything I've heard says that he's super nice. He's a good guy, respectful to his neighbors, like a lot of people online. The persona is not as real as it, I mean, the jackassery is probably not it's for the camera, not real. I like South Carolina, man. Let me play the leftist game and put my morality. I don't know what you mean there, but I've never been able to not be who I am or to lie or to do any of that. I've never been able to do that. So if you can, man, I don't know what to tell you, but I can't do that. So evil is coming from West Tennessee to our east. Yeah. What's interesting is that they're really trying hard to clean Memphis up, and the mayor and the local government is trying so hard to stop them. I don't understand it. And what's really annoying, I don't know if you get over to Memphis very much, but if you drive just 25 minutes down to like Senatobia or any northern Mississippi's nice. They're based. They're cool. But damn, man. Memphis. We got to fix Memphis. I mean, Knoxville was getting bad. Knoxville's fighting back. But Memphis, their local government they want Memphis to be a shithole. They really do. I don't know why. I just don't know. But speaking of people who want places to be shitholes, we've got to talk about Minnesota. Tim Walz, back in the news, guys. Back in the news. The Somalis. Now, last week we talked about Somalis here in Tennessee. Low-life pieces of shit. That one of them raped a woman to death on the steps of a porch. The porch steps of a church. So when we look at places like Minnesota, where it's coming out now that we've had all of this embezzlement, misappropriation of funds, out and out theft of government resources and I'm not talking about state resources. I mean, honestly, if it was just Minnesota tax dollars that were being fucked up, I wouldn't really give a shit. But they're federal tax dollars. That means they're my tax dollars. That means they're your tax dollars. And I do have a problem with that. I do. I bet Not Lowe's 2 is out there in the chat seething. Because I think that most Somalis are pieces of human filth and crap. And I don't think I just don't believe that you can demonstrate. I don't believe you can demonstrate anything different. I don't know if you are aware of this, but something like 89% of Somalia, actually, pardon me, 99% of the Somali population is Sunni Islam, Muslim, cousin niggers, inbred, distasteful. %. %. And a large percent of that population, due to inbreeding, probably not very smart. Might even drop into the mentally unfit category. Cousin fuckers, inbreeds. %99 Sunni Islam. And what's interesting is that some people are surprised that these folks did not assimilate into the American culture, that they're having trouble assimilating. Why? Why would you be astonished at that? Adam Bates, thank you very much. We'll talk about that shortly too. Why is anyone surprised when you bring over a bunch of migrants from an area of the world where it's 99% Sunni Islam, where we can prove that through generations of inbreeding, their average IQ is lower than what we will allow in public school. Do you understand? I mean, is this falling on deaf ears? Am I the only, look, I'm not being racist, ethnic phobic. These are simple facts. These are just simple facts. Why do you want literal mental midgets? Why do we want to import those people? Why? Well, they're easily controllable, obviously. You can actually get them to vote for whoever is going to give them free shit, that's for sure. What jobs do you think they're going to be able to perform? Seriously, I actually really would like some leftists to explain to me why importing people of below average IQ helps America. When I hear the liberals talk about importing all of these dumb fucks to America, it's always with this, yeah, but we're getting the best and the brightest, and they could be doctors, and they could be the next engineer. They could cure AIDS. You want to somebody go find me the Somali that could cure fucking AIDS, cure cancer. Somebody go find that guy. We'll keep him. The rest back on the boat. Yes, this is true effing epic. They give them driver's licenses just for showing up. Worse, they allow them to get CDLs oftentimes, apparently, without even having to go take the test. And we've seen what happens. We had a literal, and I believe it was Somali. I could be wrong. It could be some other shithole African country. The guy just started a U-turn on the fucking interstate, killed Americans, like real Americans, going about their day. If you want to import the Chinese that are fighting each other to get into school, to get better grades, that literally have a test that they take and it determines whether they're going to college or whether they're going into the workforce in high school. I think at the age 14. And they study for that test all fucking year. If you want to tell me that you want to let those guys in, I'd be like, yeah, you know what? That makes sense. I don't necessarily want a bunch of extra Chinese over here, but it makes some sense. Those motherfuckers are trying. If you want to tell me that you want to import a bunch of Indians or Sikhs, guys that literally are so competitive that they fight tooth and nail for every H-1B visa, every single one. And they will leave their wives, their family, their kids, everything that come to America to work. You tell me you want some of those guys? Okay. All right. I could see that. I don't necessarily agree with the numbers that you want to bring in, but I can see it. Best and brightest. I get it. They can come over here and they can do the jobs. But when you're importing mass amounts of people who can't pass third grade math, who do not assimilate into our culture, who have no intention of doing anything good in the United States, I don't want to hear it. And I don't want to hear from you. Especially not some dumbass Canadian. We'll import them to your country. You're already a shithole. They'll just make it an African shithole. I really don't mind people coming over here to add to our culture, to add value to our country. I don't even honestly mind the mentally less fortunate. If they want to come over and they want to work out in the fields, want to do manual labor. But I'm tired of hearing the best and brightest argument. I'm tired of it, man. I'm just tired of it. We're not getting the best and brightest. We're not getting the guy who's going to cure cancer. We certainly are not getting the guy who's going to figure out how to end all of these virus and all of these viruses and AIDS. And we don't have the next Elon Musk coming out of Somalia. He's not. We don't have the guy that's going to do the next SpaceX. That we just don't. Just every time a leftist says that, You should fucking piss on their shoes because it's the same shit. They're just pissing on your feet. Adam Bates, I married a legal immigrant who came to this country, who has contributed, gainfully employed most of the time. She did have a few years while she was in school, but that's okay. Never been beaten because Dim changed her stance while we don't. You're not wrong. It's crazy to me. It really is. It's crazy. But we just can't, guys. I don't know who we have to talk to. I don't know what we have to do. No, Void Ace, I'm even talking about legal immigrants. You've missed out. Steven Crowder said that. I don't watch Crowder, man. I don't get to watch very much. So did he said same shit? That's awesome. I'm just telling you that I don't need cousin fuckers who are diluting their gene pool, or polluting their own gene pool, who are dumber and dumber and dumber every generation. I don't need those people in this country. We have our own stupid people. We're plenty. And assimilation is key. If they're literally, I was reading this the other night. I don't know if I still have my notes up. Let me see. No, I don't have my notes up, but there's a judge in Minnesota and a judge in Nashville. Both have said basically the same thing, that they've released these Somalis, and it seems to be mostly Somalis. I'm kind of picking on the Somalis today, but honestly, all the cousin fuckers can fuck right on. And here's the thing. I'm be honest here. I said this the other night. They have these Somalis in Minnesota and Nashville that are committing crimes, and in Minnesota, this guy it was proven he SA'd a 13-year-old girl. He also, once they had DNA evidence, proved beyond a doubt that he SA'd up, I think it was 7 other women. The leader of his mosque wrote a letter to the judge explaining that he was having trouble fitting in, adapting to American lifestyle, and understanding our values. And the judge let him go. The judge let him go. In Tennessee, right here, we had just last week. I did a story on it. It happened last Friday. Just a few days ago, a Somali refugee here legally, raped a woman to death on the steps of a church. Let me repeat again. SA'd a woman to death on the steps of a church. He was only stopped and caught because the fire department was on their way to a call, saw it happening, stopped, detained the guy for police, and rushed the woman to Vanderbilt Hospital where she died. That individual has 16 fake identities. 16 fake identities. They don't even know this guy's real name. Anybody want to bet that guy's got a IQ higher than 60, than room temperature? Well, what do you want to bet that guy needs that has Velcro shoes because he can't tie them? We have criminals in America. We don't need to import any. We have enough retards in America. We don't need to import more. $16 fake IDs. 16. He's been arrested for almost identical crimes, obviously not leading to death, but assault, at least 7 times. This is why we all have to stand up and say, no, lefties. No, sir. You are wrong. We are not importing the next Warren Buffett. We're not the guys you're importing over. They're not curing cancer. They're not inventing the next robot heart. They're not doing any of that shit. Their kids aren't going to do any of that shit either because they're inbred to the point of retardation. How many Americans have to suffer? How many actual Americans born here, raised here, grew up here, had a great life here? How many must suffer? How many must die for the Democrats? How much blood do the Democrats require to get their way? How desperate are they to sacrifice American lives on the altar of their political rhetoric? How much blood is necessary? How many women's lives ruined? How many men's lives ruined? For what? For what? Why? What is it? I'm ashamed of the Democrats in this country. I used to just dislike them, and then I kind of had a little angst towards them. But I have a sense of disgust. a sense of just revulsion for the left. Now, I can talk to some leftists that are almost sane. And sure, there are people on the right that do horrible things. There are bad people everywhere. But the one thing I can't accuse people on the right of doing is importing people to destroy American lives. And I'm not even talking about illegals. I'm talking about flying these fuckers over on American planes, using American taxpayer dollars, putting American lives at risk. For what? I mostly talk politics, social issues, kind of leave a lot of the other, a lot of the other rhetoric to Andrew and Rob and, guys that are just, it's kind of their forte. But this is my forte. Calling it out, saying what it is. Calling it out, saying what it is. We're importing mentally deficient people who cannot assimilate into our culture for no other reason than to spend our tax dollars on it, to use as a mechanism to embezzle massive amounts from the American people and to give Democrats a problem that they need to solve through more spending. That's right, folks. You forget that in a few months, the Democrats will be asking for ever increasing budgets for the police, for the fire departments, for the social security agencies, for the outreach programs, for all of their little pet projects. They're going to ask for these massive amounts of money. Why? Because, well, we've got this crime problem, you see. We imported all of these retards. And now, shockingly, we have a crime problem. We have an increase in crime. We have an increase in homelessness. We have an increase in people getting stabbed and raped and SA'd and, people doing basic weird shit like home invasions. And now we need more money. Was there a chance? Oh no, I went to bed early, man. I went to bed early. Sorry, bud. I went to bed. Tyler, you're free to come up and try and say that I'm making the same point, but I am in fact not. Although certainly we have accused people of being less intelligent. Here, in this case, we actually know that they're less intelligent. We know that they are inbred. We know that they cannot tie their damn shoes. And we know that they have Velcro underpants on. We understand all that. You're in the office. Everybody fuck with Tyler. He's in his office. Just kidding. Don't fuck with Tyler. Don't get him fired. He's going to quit soon anyway. Oh, wait. Did I say that out loud? The problem is Biden did bad vetting. No, they didn't do any vetting. Come on. No, he did zero vetting. None. Goose egg. They just loaded those fuckers up on a plane. I'm going to switch gears, guys. We're going to talk about marriage and stuff because we were having a great discussion about marriage over in the Discord this morning. And my buddy Beaten Cheeks, Berto, he has gone full on coach, whatever, Adams guy, red pill. Marriage is just a contract, doesn't mean anything, blah, 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 blah. Sounds like weak sauce to me. Sounds like you ain't got a sack. Real men get married. Real men do it in front of God and everybody. Real men don't really give a fuck about what the state says. Just, they have to, he's not old school. He is not. Cheeks is a degen. He's my buddy. I love the guy, but he's a degen, and he's looking for reasons to continue being a degen, and that's okay. Just be honest about it and say, yeah, I don't want to get married because I enjoy clapping new cheeks all the time. That's okay. Just say that. I did that. It was fine. And then I wanted to get married, and I did. Just be honest. Don't sit there and mask your fear in this idea that marriage does not benefit men. Marriage absolutely benefits men. Absolutely. Now, Cheeks would say that, yeah, he was there before me at whatever, for sure. Yeah, he's like a real OG. Like, I'm a kind of OG. I came in like episode 30. I think Cheeks was in there at like probably episode 10. That dude was in there like swimwear. But he's a Cheeks is he's a special case. He's a special case. The thing is that there are some good points that he makes. I just don't agree with his points because I don't think that I think that he's hiding behind his fear so that he can do what he wants to do. Coach Adams, I'm assuming he's really a coach. I don't know. Maybe he is. Maybe he isn't. Maybe he's a life coach. Maybe that's where he gets to coach from. At any rate, yeah. Yeah, he feeds that rage pill fire 100%. But here's the thing. I don't care what you say about how, women can make your life a living hell if you get married. They can absolutely do that. You don't have to be married for a woman to make your life living hell. Just like, Cheeks keeps glossing over. He says, well, they can take your kids. Well, guess what, dumbass? If you don't marry the woman, in some states, you may not have any actual standing to see your kids. That's changing. But that woman's still going to take you to court and rape you over the coals, rake you over the coals. 100%. The fact that you're not married makes your position much weaker. The only thing it does is the only thing that talking about marriage in this way is good for is for men who want to be able to pull a ripcord at any time and just walk away. And that is weak sauce. Today, ladies and gentlemen, is my 20-year anniversary. It's been a great 20th year. It's been wonderful. Looking forward to the 21st year moving ahead. And I think everybody should get married. Every man should find a woman that loves them and cares for them. Because without that in your life, without a woman in your life that you can count on, that has your back, that understands you, that can be in your corner when everyone else is against you, when you are beat the fuck down, when you've been fired, you walk into work and the soup's sitting there with your fucking last check in his hand. He says, "Get your shit, get the fuck out of here." When your so-called best friend doesn't return your lawnmower and tells you to get the fuck out of his yard for, after 20 years of loaning shit back and forth. You can go home to that woman and you don't have to explain shit. She's just going to take care of you. Years ago, probably, we've been married probably a year. My wife and I probably been married about a year. And my motorcycle had gotten stolen out of the parking lot of our apartment complex. We lived in an apartment complex at first. And I had this Honda CB 900RR. Pretty cool bike. And some jackass stole it out of the parking lot while we were out at dinner. And I didn't even know. I didn't notice because we parked in the parking garage. We didn't park outside. And I went up. We went up to the apartment, looked out, just looking out at night. And I'm like, "The fuck's my motorcycle?" Call the cops. Cops show up. Write the report. While I'm downstairs, my wife is upstairs. While I'm downstairs, and a cop takes a report and he says, "Hey, do you know that you have a warrant out for your arrest?" And I said, "No, sir, I do not. I did not know that." It's like, "Yeah, it looks like you have a failure to appear in Colorado Springs." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, I don't remember that. I don't remember getting a ticket in Colorado Springs. He's like, "Well, we got to take you to jail." It's okay. So I go to jail. My wife has no idea what to do. Nothing. So I end up, it was a low bond. So I posted my bond. I was in there for like a couple of 3 hours. My wife's going crazy. Can't really call my wife. And I ended up just walking back to the apartment from the jail. I didn't have my phone with me. I couldn't get a hold of my wife. And she had actually been at the jail waiting for me, but she didn't know where to go. I get home a little while later. She gets home to the apartment. She had my back 100%. Everything, was not, "What did you do wrong?" or anything like that. It was just like, "Okay, what's going on? How do we fix this?" I'm like, "Well, apparently I have this ticket that I didn't pay in Colorado Springs." So I talked to the Colorado Springs guys. And they're like, "Yeah, it was, this was I got a ticket that I thought was just like a warning ticket, but it was actually a mandatory appearance. So there's no fine on it or anything." But it was actually a mandatory appearance. So I ended up going down to Colorado Springs, talking to the guy, paid $100 or whatever, and left. It was the end of story. But my wife had my back the whole time. Didn't know anything about it. Didn't care. No questions asked. Doesn't sit there and cry. Didn't sit there and cry. Nothing. No recriminations. Nothing. That's a small thing. But your girlfriend's probably not going to do that. Whatever else you want to talk about, how you can have a girlfriend that's as close as a wife, that's impossible. That's impossible. Because your girlfriend can always walk out the fucking door, dumbass. And sure, your wife can, but there's a vow there. There's something that means something. If you're going to marry a woman that vow doesn't mean anything to, well, you fucked up to start with, and I can't help you, brother. But my vows mean something to me and my wife. My wife gets a flat tire. I don't give a shit what else is happening. I'm going to go fix that flat tire. If my truck breaks down on the side of the highway, I'll tell you something else. A few years ago, my truck broke down on the side of the highway. Call my wife. I let her know I'm safe. I call her the next morning after I get up. Hey, I need to fix this problem. This is what I think I'm going to do. And she's like, no, don't do that. Do this instead. I think this is a better idea. I'm like, okay, I'll do that. I'm like, that's a lot of, and basically what happened is I had to leave my truck there. I couldn't fix the truck on site. I had to leave it there. But I also had a trailer with me that had all of our stuff in it that we were moving from California to Tennessee. So I had to get to Tennessee. It was a holiday weekend. The solution was to just buy another truck, hook it to the trailer, and then drive back. So I get the deal. I find a truck, I get the deal done, and then we need to get him paid. Well, couldn't get him paid. Banks aren't open. I couldn't be there another day or 2 days or whatever it was till the bank opened up. So my wife got me an airline ticket. I had the guy give me a ride to the airport. I flew out of Oklahoma City Airport. Got here, sent the guy the money. He got everything taken care of on the truck. Had the trailer hooked to the truck, everything ready to go. I flew back to Oklahoma City the following Friday and drove the truck back. No problem. I was able to do all of that because my wife had my back 100%, and she could operate for me. She could make those reservations in my name. She could do all of the things that I needed done that I couldn't do because I was in Nowheresville, fucking Oklahoma. And when I said, she's the one that said, rather than say, hey, just sit there and rent a truck or whatever, it's like, hey, I want you to get home. I want you to be safe. Go buy another truck. That's how relationships work. And that because we're married, not because she's my friend. CloverTac is correct. CloverTac is correct. It's super easy to walk out on. The Jolly Roger, congrats on the wedding anniversary. Mine was yesterday, 13 years. Hey, man, good on you, buddy. Good on you. Congrats. I appreciate that. CloverTac is right. It's easier to walk out on when there is absolutely zero commitment. That's true. There's no commitment there. You were just shacking up. You're just shacking up at that point. Good wife makes an excellent proxy, no doubt, 100%. My wife is not my best friend. My wife is my wife. It's an important distinction. It's a very important distinction. So I'm going to have a discussion with Cheeks, and I mean, I get where Cheeks coming from, right? Like he's a degenerate. He associates with degenerate people. He lives a degenerate lifestyle. And so therefore he assumes that all people are that way, and they're just not. And he's bought into this, that a state marriage fucks you over. Any relationship you have can fuck you over. 100%. My wife is my wife. My wife is my family. The other part of this that I can't say how much it annoys me. There seems to be this disconnect. When you get married, we are not just husband and wife. We are family. We're not a partnership. She's not my life partner. She's not my friend. None of that. She's my family. She is now part of my life, every aspect of my life. This is what we've lost sight of. We've lost sight of this to the point that people reduce marriage to the idea of, well, you get this marriage license and that's your marriage, and that's bullshit. If that's what marriage is to you, then if that is what marriage is to you, then you have already sealed your fate. You will not have a good marriage. You will not have a good life. Your life's going to suck. You're going to be lonesome. It's just the way it is. I'm sorry. Correct. Clover Tack is correct. Any relationship can fuck you over. Love life, marriage, coworker, business partner. This is why you need to be able to recognize and avoid certain people. Risk assessment is key. That's 100% facts, right? That's facts. But even beyond that, there was a point in time when I was angry with my brother and I didn't talk to him for probably 5 years, but we were still family. And when he called me up and he said, "Hey man, I need help with this. I hate calling you. I don't want to call you. I don't want to do it. I got to do it. And I need your help." And I helped him because he's my brother. I can be pissed at him and we were still brothers. When is the Beaten Cheeks Grid 1 debate taking place? He's supposed to call me back. We're going to talk about it on the phone. I don't know that we'll debate it publicly, but you know, you said the quiet part out loud, Viking Paradigm. You said the quiet part out loud. He has been fucked over by way more males than females in his life. Part of that's because you don't allow females to fuck you over because you're much more on guard with females, I'm sure, but certainly that's it. Pardon J6er update. Emily Hernandez, Shane Woods got 10, 15 years in prison for lethal DUIs. Andrew Johnson charged with SA of an 11-year-old and John Bueno's kidnapping SA. I don't understand the relevance here, but I'm going to be honest with you. There are bad people everywhere. So I don't really know what you're trying to say there. So Otis, Tyler's actually a cool dude. I like Tyler a lot. He's okay. Kamala bailed out some rioter that went on to... Wow. Yikes. That's a yikes. All right, guys, I'm going to open up for callers. I'm going to do something I don't normally do, and that is I'm going to put the link in the chat, and then I'm going to pin it. But I really only kind of want one or maybe two people up at a time, probably just one. Let me pin that. And so if you want to come up, I'll take callers. We can talk about anything we talked about today or whatever you want to talk about. And come on by. What's up, AB Check? My man. It's been a while, dude. It's been a while. So that's where it's at. Oh, Clover Tack is on the button. What's up, my man?
Done fucked up. Done threw the link out there public.
I know. I don't normally do that. We're gonna try it.
Trolls
We'll see.
incoming. Starting
Yeah.
with me.
Yeah, I shot that match at Glock store this weekend. It was awesome.
Oh yeah.
I didn't do well.
Before I forget, congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Happy anniversary. All that good
Happy
stuff.
anniversary. That's right.
How many years was it?
20.
Yeah. Fucking rookie.
Yeah, I know, right? I'll let you know when I get 35 in.
You'll grow up eventually. All good.
Don't bet on that. But you're in the Philippines, AB check? Damn, son. Looking for a wife.
Right. Passport bro.
Importing them.
All right.
I shot that match at the Glock store.
Yeah.
Lenny McGill's Glock store. It was actually pretty good. It was a good match. It was different.
What did you shoot, or what did you use?
So I started out with my Kel-Tec RDB and my Bull SAS2.
Okay.
And I shot the first stage with that, and there were two problems. First, because the Bull has iron sights on it, and I either had to use these glasses, which are clear, so I can focus, I can see the sights, but I couldn't see the targets very clearly because of the distance. I mean, I could see the targets, but I couldn't see like A zones and shit like that.
Yeah, that's not good.
It's not when you're going for a score, right?
Right. Yeah.
So, and then the targets were just fuzzy, right? Like I couldn't make out.
Yeah, it should be the opposite, right? You should be able to see the targets, and the sights should be fuzzy.
And so then I went to, because of the lighting, and then it's just the way the focal plane works. So, and the Kel-Tec is really loud anyway, but I had the blast forwarder on it instead of the suppressor. And so nobody liked me, and I was shooting big balls of flame everywhere. And it had a red dot on it, which the red dot was 0 for 25 yards or so. And so it was shooting like 2 inches low, which again, it's not much, but when you're shooting at tiny targets close up, it's, you know, I needed it to be more on. So I had so when I switched to I have a 16-inch AR. It's a ballistic advantage. Pardon me. It's a proof carbon fiber barrel with the unrivaled defense magnetic buffer system and the JP. I mean, it's raced out. It's fancy pants so fast, so fast. And so I switched to that, and that has the Bushnell SMRS, which I don't make anymore, scope on it. So I would just leave it on 1X, and then I used my regular shooting glasses that are my prescription shooting glasses. One of the reasons why that the sight thing is a problem is because these are progressive lenses, and so when I'm looking at my sight, the sights are clear or clear-ish, but the target, because I'm focused far off, I'm on that cusp, and so it's really fuzzy. So my shooting glasses, they've moved and I said, anybody that's looking for like shooting glasses, you have to go to Brian at Hunter HD Gold and get proper shooting glasses.
100%.
And so Brian moved so he took where the focus point is, and he moved it up so that when I'm on the gun, my focal point's correct.
Yep.
And where I'm looking through is correct.
Yeah. So here's the
hey, we're getting raided. All right. Welcome, Raiders.
Who raided? Mike?
Bob? No. Rob Knorr. Rob Knorr raided.
Thanks, Rob.
What's up, everybody? Come on in. We're doing a little bit of gun talk, but we'll get back to other stuff here in a few minutes. The link is pinned. I'll do callers. I'll take you in the order you come up, assuming that I don't just sit here and prattle for the next hour with Clover.
Mm-hmm.
But
so the cool thing about Brian and Hunter's HD Gold, the cool thing I've always found is there's a lot of companies out there that will do prescription shooting glasses, right? Like that's not a thing.
100%.
The difference with Hunter's HD Gold is since the 60s or 70s or whatever the fuck, they are actually like lens crafters. What do you call it? Optometry, whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's what they do. Is
Yeah.
they do prescription glasses. It just
Yes.
so happens in the last 10, 12, 15 years,
Yes.
whatever, they started the shooting sports classes, right?
Yeah.
So they know what the fuck they're doing 100%
Right.
when it comes to prescription glasses. And like you say, they can customize that specifically for you, which is
Yes.
really cool.
Yeah.
And he probably didn't even charge any extra for that, did he?
No, he never. No, he's not
Yeah.
charged me extra for anything.
Yeah,
Like
they're
they're
awesome.
super good about it. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
super good about it.
Mhm.
And so I switched to my Honor HD Golds in yellow,
Yeah.
gold, and then I went to the new gun that I just got, the Alpha Foxtrot 4 1/4 ported 2011.
Nice.
And I switched. I've been it now. So I got it. It had an Aimpoint acro on it.
Mhm.
I like the acro, but it's heavy, and I didn't like all that inertia on the slide.
Mhm.
So I swapped that for a hollow sun with a circled dot with an RMSC pattern or an RMS pattern.
Yep. Way lighter.
Way lighter.
Doesn't slow
Good.
down the cycling quite as much.
Everything's good except the auto bright feature on the hollow sun. It turns it up too much.
Yeah.
So with my shooting glasses on, it flares too much.
And you can't turn the auto feature off on that.
I can, but I was like, and then I just decided I didn't like the circle dot.
Oh.
So then I put the exact same hollow sun on it, but just the like two MOA dot.
Right.
And I'm telling you, dude, it's on. It's on.
Yeah.
So I shot that the rest of the match. Now keep in mind, I just got that gun Thursday. I shot it for the first time Friday, and I shot a match with it on Saturday.
Right.
I mean, I literally I knew that it would cycle. I figured that all the mags would work, and it was awesome. And I mean, I did pretty well, but I had some moments of stupidity in there. But the match was good. It was a good shooting match. I would say that if you're in the Nashville area, or you're going to be, and they're going to do a match there, it's worth going to. It's nice. It's nice to be able to do it. And I'm supposed to shoot at Cleveland this weekend. They have a 3-gun match, but my there's a party or something my kids friends are putting on, and I may have to go do that, and or at least take them to that. So we'll see. We'll see what this weekend holds. But on the other project that you know about, nobody else does, things are just rolling easily along, and everything's moving pretty good. I was just talking about the deal with Whistling Diesel, Cody, earlier, about how I don't know if you know this, but in Tennessee, they sued him, or they arrested him for tax evasion.
Right. Heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. So and we just talked about that because it's
Tennessee, so that's a state thing?
It's a state. Yeah. They're saying basically that he didn't pay the state sales tax on the Ferrari that he burned to the ground. And so they say that he owes them $20,000, but there's a lot of weirdness in it because so he supposedly, I don't know this to be true. Supposedly a whistleblower alerted them that he had never paid this tax.
God. Fucking, I hate people. I just hate people, right?
We don't know that that's what happened, or anyway. So they started looking into him.
Probably somebody was butthurt.
Yeah, somebody got butthurt, and they looked into it. And what they found was they called and asked his accountant and a bunch of other people about the LLCs he has in Montana, and some of the other way his business is structured, and a bunch of other stuff, and specifically about the Ferrari. And his accountant asked, should I ask him about this? And we could get this taken care of. And they're like, no, we'd rather you not. speak with him about this while we're conducting our investigation. Now, at any point in time, they could have said he owes us 20 grand and we'd like to get paid.
Right.
But they didn't. And apparently they've never sent him a demand letter. They never sent him a tax bill or whatever. And so it's going to be interesting to see how this shakes out. And Adam Bates is correct. He does kind of flaunt that. But he doesn't, but he pays his taxes, and, you know, he's got an accountant. He's got several lawyers. They never reached out to his lawyer to say, hey, you know, we've got this tax case against your client. We need to get this settled out. And it's very interesting, the way this is going down. It doesn't look good for Tennessee. And they've now put a gag order out there, or they're trying to get a gag order. I don't know. There was a hearing on it today. They're trying to get a gag order so that he doesn't talk about the case on any of his social media, and they don't he can't monetize it or anything like that.
Wow.
And we'll see if that goes through. I don't see why that should hold, because it doesn't prevent them from collecting their 20 grand if he's making fun of them.
Dude, I mean, I hate taxes. Who doesn't?
Yeah.
But I especially hate fucking state income tax. Like,
yeah. Well, we don't have a state income tax.
Hate that.
We do not.
Oh, I thought that's what it was.
State sales on a car.
State
20 grand.
Sales tax. Okay.
Yeah, sales tax. They said that he committed
Wait,
tax.
why did he have to pay sales tax?
Well, this is the conundrum, because I don't know that he did, because if his
well, I'm not asking if he did. I'm like,
Yeah.
why are they saying that he had to pay sales tax? I don't understand. I'm lost. Like, did he buy the car, or did he?
He did have the car. All right, so it looks like that he bought the car from Ferrari of Nashville. I don't know that to be true, but that makes the most sense. When he bought the car, you have, I think, 7 days to go pay the sales tax at your county clerk.
That's all part of registration and whatnot here, but yeah.
Yeah. The question is, did he buy the car through his Montana LLC, have the car shipped to Montana, and have it registered there? And if that's the case, does he actually owe Tennessee state sales tax?
Oh, that's true.
Because it's like a dealer transferring a car across state lines.
Yeah, you pay tax. Taxes are paid in the jurisdiction from which the purchase is made, not where you're buying.
Well, so and again, Tennessee has what's called a foreign entity clause in our sales and use tax. So if I use like I was using an example earlier, if I buy this security company down in Atlanta and I decide to have them come up and work here, but all they do is guard a facility, and all I'm paying them is their normal employment. In theory, I only have to pay the Social Security and Medicare, all the normal stuff that I'm already paying in Atlanta, and I can't go double jeopardy. Somebody's blowing me up. Oh, never mind. And so they don't want double jeopardy, right? So as long as that's the case, I don't owe Tennessee anything. But if my guys come up and they're guarding a facility and we're selling security systems, we're using local people. Now I got to pay. Now I have to pay the. I don't have to pay. There's no state income tax, but I have to pay all of the employment stuff for the state of Tennessee.
Yeah.
And so it's a, and I have to register as a foreign entity. Right. So I have, and so that at the end of the year, when I do my taxes, whatever money that I spend or whatever money I make here through selling things, then I pay taxes on it in Tennessee. Whatever money I make in Georgia or whatever, gets taken there.
Right.
Look up McCurry versus Tennessee Court of Appeals at all. Document. Okay, I will. Send it to me on Discord, my man. Otis Driftwood just dropped $5 for the stream. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. I'm terrible at grifting. I've not grifted all day. But that was one toasty Ferrari for sure. That it caught fire because he was like just hot dogging it around a field, and you know what happens when the exhaust and grass meet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. I almost had that happen at one time.
You did?
Got lucky. Yeah,
I
got
did
lucky.
too,
So
actually.
we were responding to a pasture fire,
Mm-hmm.
and I was in my personal vehicle just because I was closer, and there was already guys in the route with the fire
You a
truck.
volunteer fire guy?
I was. In fact, I worked my way up to chief there
Respect.
for a number of years. Anyway, so
everybody respect.
So I showed up, and I was like the first one on scene, obviously. And so, like you're talking about in a pasture, so the grass, the shit was up pretty high, like 3-4 foot, whatever. So I pull out in there, and I'm not thinking it's dry, and like I fucking fireman, right? And I didn't even think about this. So I pull off in there, and they show up, and we get the trucks ready and take off. It's not just a horrible situation, but very rural and just a pasture. But anyway, so I turn around and there's like smoke coming from underneath my truck, and I realize, oh fuck me, like the exhaust is hot, this grass is high, it's dry out here. Like,
I've had the exact same thing happen. Same deal. I just not responding to a fire, but
yeah, thankfully I caught it in time. I got it backed up, and was able to pretty much stomp what was on fire out, and we were good. But I pulled that bitch back up on the county road and parked it. So it could happen.
It's an interesting way to go about it. I had a similar, basically the exact same thing, except I wasn't responding to a fire. I was driving out to check some fence.
Yeah.
And it was fine. I parked my truck, which was a lower truck. It wasn't like my truck now, since up plenty high, but my old truck, way back then, it was, I had like not an S10. I had like a little Nissan pickup, and then I had some other different trucks, but
I just had this was my, I think it was my 98 F-150, but it was just 2-wheel drive, so like it wasn't jacked up.
Yeah, it wasn't high. Yeah, so I remember I pull out, and I was just checking some fence. I think it was a little Nissan hardbody. So it didn't sit that high. And I just stopped. I got out to go check some fence, and I had intended to park on the dirt where we had obviously driven many, many times. But I didn't. And it had been really dry. And I go over there and I'm checking to see everything, and I turn around and I could smell it. I couldn't see smoke. It was too sunny out. I couldn't actually see the smoke, but I was like, man, something's burning.
Right.
They're burning trash.
Yeah.
Something like that. And I start looking around, and then it occurred to me, I'm like, oh man, I wonder, no, it can't be. And sure enough, I backed that thing back over into the dirt, and there was a growing black spot.
Right. Yeah.
Like you couldn't see the flames or the smoke. It was just a growing black spot.
It was
fortunately,
yeah.
Fortunately, we were able to get I had a shovel, obviously, and I was able to throw some dirt on it.
With the rest of the pasture burning, right? Like I didn't get the smell warning.
Right.
It already smelled, but thankfully I'm like, that don't look right. That looks like smoke.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, man, it's an interesting thing. So how's Texas looking? You guys are you getting your property taxes killed this year? Or?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how all that's going. Last I looked, it wasn't great because my county being a very rural and low population county, it wouldn't really affect things here. But Abbott, especially his re-election campaign, he's kind of on the campaign trail for that shit, right? And he's talking about really trying to push and make some changes and put some caps and some other things going on. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully they can get something done with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and shoot the Vortex
Nice.
Texas Championship. I think that's near Marble Falls, Texas.
Yeah, it's a long way. So,
and well, everything's a long way in Texas. And then I'm hoping that ETTS does a match down near Waxahachie.
Yeah.
So
if you do that match, we gotta have some dinner or something.
Yeah, we'll have steak.
That's definitely close enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a little over an hour. Maybe close. Well, yeah, a little over an hour.
Glare 1% wants to know, CloverTac, what happened with the bail vote? I don't know what we're referencing there.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm oblivious. So to that.
Have you got any cool projects you're working on?
Me?
Yeah.
Actually, I am waiting today, believe it or not. I'm hoping that it comes through my temporary drone pilot license.
Oh, nice.
You
and the FAA are on good terms.
I've had a drone now for about 3 weeks, and
you can't
a week ago yesterday, I'm like, fuck me, like I'm hearing all these stories about YouTubers getting calls from the FFA and everything else. It's commercial, and I'm like, and it's just a little basically vlogging drone. It's not anything. The DJI Neo is what it is. So, and it's plenty for like shooting. It's perfect for shooting and stuff. So we're not talking about flying, hundreds of feet in the air and going miles away and that kind of shit,
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter as far as the FFA is concerned.
So, well, the FAA, I'm pretty sure that one of the things that I think a lot of people don't realize is, CloverTac is out on bail. He was picked up for being a dirty old man. That's funny. That's funny. There's a. What am I looking at here? So there is with the FAA, you can fly your drone away from. You have to be 3 miles from an airport, and you can fly it up to like 400 feet.
No, it depends on the club. It totally depends on the class of the airport.
Yes, that's true as well. But and so in Texas, I don't think being a drone pilot is that big, or not having a drone pilot license is that big a deal. But when you start getting into areas like where I live, it's almost impossible to fly a drone around me without breaking the FAA rules. It's not impossible, but it's really fucking hard because we have so many airports, we have so many. We have so much. Our airspace is so
well. So here's the deal, right? So and I know this, and why I said fuck it, and I crammed for 3 days. So I decided to do this on a late Sunday night, and I took the fucking test Friday at lunch.
That sounds like you. I believe that 100%.
I'm like, fuck this, let's get it done, let's knock it out, right? Then I don't have to worry about it, because that's the thing, is so I don't have to worry about it. So flying this drone, it's less than 250 grams. Right. Yeah. So that falls into a weird classification where you technically, if I was flying a recreational, I wouldn't need shit. You know, if I was, and there's, it's not going to go high enough or far enough away. This one's not, because it just doesn't have the range to be any kind of threat. I would have to be in an airport, literally in an airport for it to even be a problem. Right. So, and I'm nowhere around, and I'm going to be using it on my own fucking property. Right. Yeah. Within 100 foot, and as far as elevation, probably within 30 or 40 foot max, right? So, but because it falls into that weird gray area, I don't want any problem. And like you just talked about, butthurt motherfuckers out there on the internet, I start putting drone footage on the channel, and the next thing you know, some dumbass that's pissed because I hate Glocks or whatever the fuck, right? Or they're anti-2A even, has reported me to the FFA. Right. Yes, that's what happened to Trent Palmer. So now when they do it, it's like the FFA is just going to throw that shit in the garbage. They're going to look and they go, "Oh, this motherfucker's got a license, has drones registered." You say that, but they'll investigate. But they'll make a call. They'll make a call. They'll make a call. Yeah. So there's this guy named Trent Palmer.
And Trent Palmer's made a lot of really badass videos flying his little plane around. And it's a STOL plane, so he'll just fly out in the middle of the fucking desert somewhere and land it and then take off again and all of that. What was the link to what? Help me out with that. What was the link? So Trent Palmer overflies an area where he can legally land. Looks at it, says, nah, I don't like the look of it. Don't like the wind. I don't like whatever it was, whatever he decided not to land. And he just continues on his way. Some bitch reported him to the FAA for buzzing the landing strip.
Yeah.
And he ended up losing his license for a few months over it because they investigated him, and originally they found that he did in fact buzz the strip because when you look at it from this lady's Next or whatever fucking video camera, it looks like he buzzed it, but he's like, it doesn't matter what it looks like. I'm the pilot. I get to decide whether I land or not.
Right. Can I just point out that the phrase buzzing the landing strip does sound degenerate?
Yeah, it does, right? It does. But at any rate, it's a I still don't know what the link was. But yeah, it's just an interesting thing with the drone stuff is interesting because so many people think that they're illegal everywhere, especially cops. And so that you end up educating everybody all the time about what the laws are. Yeah. And basically have to carry a printout of them in your pocket. But even full-size airplanes are getting jacked with.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
So
that's that's been my thing. I've got to it says 7 to 10 days from the time you take the test. You got to take the test and then you use that number or whatever to finish your application. And it says 7 to 10 days, but everybody I talk to says literally, I mean, a couple of days max, usually hours. And so I've noticed today I've had a status change. So once this happens, I've got a remote ID module because this DJI Neo does not have remote ID.
So that's like ADSB for drones.
Yeah. And so anytime that I'm flying it commercially, I have to, it's Velcroed on. So that's simple. But I have to put that remote ID. So the remote ID, once I get my temporary permit, which will give me my number, then I can go in and register my remote ID. And then I can start at least uploading, right? Footage. Because like, I don't want to, I can record and do whatever, sure. But like once I upload, like if haven't covered all the bases, that could be problematic. So we'll see.
Yeah. Homo Anson says, I'm sure glad the government is making laws to protect us from drones, firearms, sports cars, and catcalling chicks.
Right.
They're here to serve and protect. That's all I can say.
I see to an extent though, because I got into this when for like a day, when I was upset. Because I was upset because like I'm on my own fucking property doing this. I'm not flying it anywhere else. Yeah. Like I'm not even above the treetops here. Like we have big fucking tall pine trees here. Like I'm not even above the treetops. And like and I say 100 foot, 150 foot is the range on this thing. So if you're controlling with your phone, which I am, and honestly, I'm within probably 15 or 20 foot of me. So like it makes no fucking sense. It's below the weight category. It's designed to be a vlogging drone anyway. Like I was just so pissed. It's like, why the fuck does the government need to be involved in all this? And then I'm like, I had to step back because I talked to some other people, and I'm like, you know what? It's one of those situations to where if the drone malfunctions and you're somewhere that you're not supposed to be, like, could it bring down a plane with 12, 15, 20 people in it, right? or cause a
Yeah,
crash
that's
of a
the that's the
helicopter, or like, so the ramifications of like fucking up or whatever. I, in a way, I get it.
yeah,
I get the regulation, and we're talking about civil too. This is all civil stuff,
yeah,
not uh,
criminal.
not criminal. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're talking
Yeah,
about
so
fines.
it's an
Okay.
interesting thing because as a pilot, you know, I've actually, so we don't like things in the air that we can't see. Like
Right, right.
we just don't. Like
No, I get it.
birds annoy the piss out of me.
Yeah,
Like they really do. Like there is nothing that will just give you a case of the anal pucker like having a big fucking hawk or something materialize like right in front of you, because hitting a bird with an airplane is bad.
yeah, right.
It's just bad. There's no good. It's all bad. And so we just don't like it. And I understand where pilots are coming from. I'm in that same boat. And there was an overreaction by the FAA about 15 or 20 years ago where they actually, it technically, all radio controlled model airplanes are banned. You can't fly them. So they've changed it a little bit, and the drone stuff has really made them kind of rethink a lot of stuff. But it's just the FAA overreacting.
Well, some of these drones, I mean, you know, because you know, I've done research and you know, having to you know, of course, put myself in a situation where, you know, I went from, hey, I want to do this, to taking the test in less than 5 days.
Right.
You know, I've watched a lot of stuff, read a lot of stuff, and I've really looked at a lot of the different drone models that are out there. Now, some of them are thousands of dollars, $2,000 and $3,000 and
Sure.
$4,000 and $5,000, but they've got drones in the, you know, $1,000 to $1,500
Oh, yeah.
category
Mhm.
that those fuckers will go 12, 1,500 feet elevation. They will go 10 miles out. Like, holy shit. Like, you could fuck up some stuff with a drone like that if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's true. Otis Driftwood gifted another 5 memberships to an Unreasonable Man. That's awesome, dude. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
That's really badass. I appreciate that. So I agree with you. I agree with what you're talking about. But and the same thing was with remote control airplanes, and that is that you can only technically fly RC airplanes from a designated RC plane field.
Ah, okay.
Or you can fly in a park, but again, you have to make sure that you're not closer than 3 miles to a runway approach, because that's just what they've decided arbitrarily that you should not be there. Which, look, I get it. You may not think that you're flying that high, but if I'm landing and I'm at 300 feet, and your little airplane happens to slam into me, that's a problem.
Yeah.
You know, so I get it. Yeah. As a pilot of both, I totally get it. I understand it, but I don't actually agree with it because it's just one more overreach of the government.
Mm-hmm.
I live on the I do too. I live by an airport. I live on the approach to 18 at KMBT. So I'm literally on the approach. Like the planes fly like basically right over my house.
Right. Yeah,
I never hear them.
I'm probably 20 miles from a little county airport, and other than that,
so you're fine.
I'm completely open Class G airspace, within miles and miles and miles, way further than my drone, or honestly any drone's gonna go.
Yeah, so I would have a hard time.
Now that doesn't mean there's not MOAs and other things like flight paths and other things that come through, because there are some emergency helicopter flight paths, especially, and helicopters fly lower, so you got to be aware of that kind of shit.
Yes.
And then also, I'm guessing from somewhere out west or whatever, or maybe south, going to Barksdale in Louisiana. But occasionally there'll be maneuvers, there'll be jets and stuff. Now they're high, they're way higher than most drones are going to go. So
But
they're
they
like a
still don't want you
preview.
running into one.
Yeah, but it's not. There's no regulations around flying in those military flight paths.
Mm-hmm.
Now restricted space, yes, but military flight paths, no, like training paths. There's no restrictions on that. You just got to be aware that it's there,
Yeah.
and you know what the different elevations and all are for
It's
those
the same for any other
classifications.
pilot. Yeah, we
And
we
like
have
once
to
you
know all
know
that.
that, it's just a matter of paying attention and being careful, right? But again, with the drone that we're talking about with me, I don't see myself getting another drone. I'm not like into drones, right?
So
So
did
don't.
you buy like a DJI or what
I
did you
bought
get?
it. I bought the DJI Neo. Yeah.
DJI
Um,
deal.
yeah. So it is a this thing weighs with the module, because when I register it, I have to have the total weight. With the
Mm-hmm.
module, it's 150 grams.
Okay.
So it's tiny. And it's got automated features that you don't even have to have a controller or the phone. You can literally like push buttons on it,
Mm-hmm.
and it will take off from your hand and perform those maneuvers. So like I can push some buttons, send it up, and then start shooting, right? And it's got some other features where it acts almost like a tripod. So I
Yeah.
can put it up in the air and it will track and follow.
Mm-hmm.
And so all I really got to do is put it up, and then it works like a cameraman, right?
Yeah.
And that's the reason I wanted it. So you're talking about it's going to do me no good if it's 100 foot in the fucking air. Like you're not going to be able to see what
Well,
I'm doing.
and
So
when
I
you're
didn't
trying to
need I didn't need the big drone
outside,
for that.
shooting outside is like an entirely different ball game
Mm,
because of the lighting and what
Yeah.
you can control, what you can't control.
yeah. But you could also use it. That's the beauty of this thing too. Is it small enough? You could even set the like for your matches,
Mm-hmm.
dude. You could set this thing to follow and run through your course of fire
Yeah.
indoors, and like it would follow and film. It would be
Yeah.
pretty neat.
It would. I think we're going to have to figure out how to deal with that at some point because I think people are going to want to start doing it. And before we've said no, you can't. You can have them up high, but you can't have them down low. What's up, Tyler? How are you?
Muted.
Yeah, can't hear you. Not that I wanted to, but
It's just
So-
fucking.
got you now.
I'm all done.
Are you
working
getting
today.
married today or something, bro? You got the wedding arch in the background.
No, and I already got married. That's why she has control over the decorating.
God, man, get some frame, dude. Get some frame.
No, he's all right. What's up, man? You jumped up. What do you want to talk about?
Oh, nothing. I just, you were saying you were looking for a couple people to pop up, and I finally got done working. I was just I didn't want to filibuster or switch the topic. What are you guys talking about?
Well, we have been talking about drone shit, but I'm open to talking about mostly anything. What's new with you?
Besides this,
What do you
new
think
job-
about my Smalley speech? What do you think about that?
Oh, that's what I was saying earlier about that's the same thing they said about us Polacks when we came over, about the
That
Irish
is
when we
not.
came over. It is. Watch
It
Gangs
is
in New
not.
York, man. Gangs
It
in
is
New York. That's a realistic movie.
What's that? Gangs in New York?
Gangs in New York. It's a very realistic movie.
I
It's got some
can't even
similarities.
make up the stuff that you're talking about.
You got some similarities to what they're saying. When you really get into it, you're kind of monolith building. Not that you're not right about a very large subsection of the Somali population. Absolutely. But
I don't
would
think it's a
blame that.
subsection. I think it's just a large part of the population.
Yeah, it could very well be. But at the end of the day, they do have some people there that if we were to bring them over here, we'd be a better nation as a result. And at the end of the day, I would say merit-based. I kind of agree with you. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think so. I think they've run their country into the dirt. It's a literal shithole of the world. I honestly don't believe that there's anyone with 100 IQ over there. I'd almost say an 80 IQ.
Well, yeah, but then you go back to those arguments that the bell curve argument was that IQ in different regions is different. But when you take people out of low IQ regions and put them into high IQ regions, within 2 generations, those IQs even out.
But we're not talking about IQ because they haven't been able to learn. We're talking about IQ because they're inbred. And it makes them dumb.
Are we talking about Southerners or Somalis? I don't remember.
Somalis.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Because Southerners don't do that anymore.
Yeah, and I'm just saying, like, at the end of the day, there are definitely in every group, there's a middle class and an upper middle class. And you're probably right. There's a very high percentage of poor, inbred, stupid, degenerate people that we don't want over here, probably from every nation. There's not a nation I guarantee you can find that doesn't have those people. Maybe like Japan and China and these authoritarian countries that just kill them off with no rights. But like other than that, yeah, I agree. But without like Indians and Filipinos and things like Indians, you're not hitting on, but like
the Indians, I absolutely mentioned the Indians. I absolutely said I have no problem with them because because they're not a bunch of inbred.
Yeah, you said that. But the Groypers put the Indians in the same group as the Somalis, the street shitters that we don't.
But I'm not a Groyper.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like,
I don't even know what a Groyper is, so I can't be one.
Pentuple. You hear them making those arguments, and you're like, that's our entire medical field right now is propped up. We give U.S. citizens complete free education if you want to get into any medical field, from nursing to becoming a specialized doctor.
That's not true.
You can get all paid.
You can, but we don't. We're not just like handing it out. We're not out searching for doctors right now. We have too many doctors. Actually, we have too many doctors. And what's even more is that if you are in the medical profession, you can't fucking make money. You can't even sell your practice because it's too expensive for the people who have too much debt. And when they come out of medical school to take over someone's practice, I actually know 2 doctors here locally who have closed their practices because they couldn't sell them to someone. So your information's flawed. You should probably.
I'm just saying, like, we prop the medical system. I looked it up a couple days
ago. We
do
prop the medical situation up because nobody wants to work in shitholes. Doctors, once they get out, they want to move to Palm Springs. They don't want to move to backwater Illinois.
Yeah, exactly. You can only have so many doctors in Palm Springs, though. So once you're like the bad doctor in that competition, absolutely, you might have to close. But there's other areas of the country that are short on doctors. As an aggregate, in a whole, we're about 80,000 doctors short, and about 2 million.
I don't believe that at all. Overall. I think that's made up bullshit.
It could very well. It could be every number you hear is probably inflated in some way.
Well, it's like we don't have enough lawyers either, but that's absolute bullshit.
Well, if you look at like public defenders and shit, they're like getting like an hour per case and shit like that.
Otis, can you hear us? Otis?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. There you go.
All right. Yeah,
Wait,
he doesn't know what he's talking about, right? The average guy has no idea about doctors and nobody about lawyers.
Well, I think he's going off of what people say, but I've had to do some research into this, but Adam Bates says Tampon Tim led me wrong. Yes, Tampon Tim actually did lead you.
Yeah. I mean,
well, even if we did need more lawyers, and even if we did need more doctors, couldn't that problem be solved in other ways that doesn't require having more doctors and lawyers? Like making America healthier, where we don't need all the doctors, and not suing the fuck out of everybody, where we need more lawyers.
Define lawyers and doctors.
Define them.
People with the degrees to work in those jobs.
People doing it.
Let's go basics here, man. You're telling me what is it a lawyer and what is a doctor?
I mean, I think we're pretty okay on the definition.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's disputing that.
No, because you seem to think that a lawyer or doctor is your view. I'm saying a lawyer doctor is my view. So what is a lawyer doctor?
Well, I'm not hosting a debate. But at any rate, we're I'm okay with the generic assumption of doctor and lawyer. If the numbers are a problem, which I don't think they are. I think that if we did need to make more of them, Tyler, we should pick Americans first over importing a bunch of,
I agree. But when you're offering Americans complete free education,
but we aren't doing that.
We are. As private companies offer that shit, they'll pay for my wife's in it. They'll pay for your entire education. I know.
Yes, a private company will.
Yeah,
sure.
And
because they're going to get something out of it.
We're already offering that to Americans, and they're not taking.
I don't have a problem with that. I'm talking about our American tax dollars who are importing people right now.
Yeah, the J1 visa specifically.
No, not J1.
That's the medical visa.
Well, Well, J1s are not just medical; they're professional visas.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
anyway.
but they come in from H-1Bs, but very rarely. Most of them coming from the J-1 visa,
Yeah.
and the
So-
J-1 visa is what brings in. Like we are paying the college for people that apply.
We are not. No, we are not.
as a country. I'm
Tyler,
saying
you.
No.
America
hold on.
as a corporation.
My
Wrong.
tax dollars are not paying.
I'm not saying your tax dollars.
Okay,
I'm saying
all right.
as a country, we have entities that are paying for people to get complete free education, and Americans still are not
It's
taking
wrong.
it because the
But
hours suck.
they are taking it
But
if
they are.
if it's available. But
We have a doctor. I'm looking at the news today. RFK is currently
I don't
commenting
give
about the
a-
doctor
I don't-
shortage.
I don't care about the news.
Okay, I get that you
well,
don't.
hold
but
on,
I'm going off
hold
of
on.
facts.
Yeah.
I don't.
I'm going off
we
of
don't
facts,
need to
not your
degenerate.
gut.
We don't. I don't want
You
this to
going to-
degenerate into like a
You-
massive.
MSNBC or something. Like,
I
what
don't
are you
really-
talking
I really.
RFK.
What?
RFK
You're playing
just
with
said
me.
that he's
Yeah,
having
I
issues
get
with
it. I get
doctor
it. Hold on,
shortages.
hold on. Let me finish.
All right.
You're cool. I understand what RFK said, but I'm telling you what the reality
I
based
disagree.
in normal America is currently. We have too many doctors as it is, to be honest with you. Now, that could be the case that they're in areas they need more doctors, which I don't believe. But RFK saying something is a talking point. I'm looking for actual like I just don't see that meat and potatoes. Plus, if it were the case, and you got to help me out here, if it were the case that that an American citizen could get all of their medical school paid for from day one of college all the way through pre-med, all the way through doctorate, all the way into residency, if that were the case, why are Americans going into debt to go to medical school?
38 plus trillion in debt.
Well, that's because not all of them qualify. So
Okay, right. Okay, so there's a qualification issue,
Yeah.
right?
It's merit based.
So what? But and it could be the case, right, that for whatever reason, these programs are looking for very specific things that do not lend themselves to Americans, which has actually been a criticism of these various visa programs before.
Why did your program ruin my taxes? That's why I want.
But he's saying that the tax dollars are not being used. These are corporate dollars that are being used to pay for the.
But it's still tax. It's still tax in some form that these corporations, right? That's what I know.
Well, it matters to me a lot. If a corporation's willing to pay for Tyler to go become a doctor, more power to Tyler.
What is
And more power to the corporation, because my tax dollars are not paying for that. That corporation's using its profits or some version of their profits to pay for that. I'm good with that.
Or a leftist doctor. That's the concern.
It doesn't matter. I don't care what their politics are, as long as my tax dollars aren't paying for it. I just don't care, because it's irrelevant. People are going to have their politics regardless. I can't discriminate against people for their politics. That's what leftists do. I don't do that. I'm on the right. I believe that everybody has the equal opportunity, period, regardless of their political beliefs. But
I agree. But there's also right and wrong. So if the leftists are trying to influence us, can we not donate those leftist views as a doctor or
no, I can't.
Lawyer?
I can't, because they shouldn't be bringing that to work anyway. The problem is that people are bringing that shit to work now.
Well, but everywhere.
It really should be that in your job, nobody should know what your politics are.
Right. It should be right or wrong, correct?
No, in your job, it should just be you do your job.
Right.
And unless you're a politician, if somebody knows that you're a Republican, they should know that in passing. If somebody knows you're a Democrat, they should know that in passing.
What if your job tells you wrong?
I'm absolutely against. I'm just as against people coming to work with Trump forever as I am with the rainbow flag. Both of those should be. You should not have those in the workplace.
I'm a Christian ethics.
Mm-hmm.
So if the job tells you to do wrong, should you negate that?
But we're not talking about what the job is telling you. We're talking about simply what Tyler is talking about is corporations, at least in whatever specialty that his wife is working in or going to work in,
Okay.
are willing to spend money to pay all of the college for them. Now that's not free. It's not free money. They have to sign a contract that she probably has to work 4 to 5 years for that company afterwards. And I'm okay with that. If that was the case, I'd have no problem. And you could bring over all the Somalis that pass the test that you want. However, when the government imports, when the government uses my tax dollars to import people who are refugees that cannot tie their fucking shoelaces,
right?
That's a problem for me.
You're not going to hear any complaints about.
Okay, all right. So we're all on the same page.
Yeah, the Biden administration's lack of vetting.
I think we're arguing nothing here.
The Biden administration's lack of vetting on asylees and refugees is absolutely a problem. But when we're talking about legal immigration, our medical system is propped up. I could send you the bill that Republicans. Hold on, let me get my full sentence out. I can send you the bill that was proposed by Republicans.
Well, I'll send you another
Hold
bill
on, let me finish my sentence. Let me finish my sentence.
Calm down.
Calm down, man. So I can send you the bill that Republicans proposed in the House to combat the doctor shortage that the Republican Party is currently talking about.
Right.
Yes, it happened.
Look,
I'm going off of facts, not your gut.
Again, I find it really hard to believe that we have a doctor shortage when we're graduating doctors every day. Like, this is the same thing where there's a pilot shortage, where there's a law enforcement officer shortage. We have all of these shortages. Nobody can actually prove to me that we have a shortage because if there were such a thing, there would be a corporation out there filling it. We wouldn't need the government to do it.
Your view of doctor, your view of military, your view of anything is skewed because of your leftism. That's what we're combating.
I'm not a leftist. You're just making shit up because you can't get back the facts I'm giving you. You're a leftist.
Hold on, guys. This is let's make sure that we're talking about the same thing. Let's just make sure that we're talking about the same thing. I don't care if corporations want to bring in all the people they want. What I actually do care about is what you just said. Even Republicans saying that we have this shortage of doctors or whatever, and we need to do all this. I don't agree with that because I don't believe that to be the case. If that were the case, hospitals would literally be spending a ton of money to bring those to pay for those doctors, and corporations would, which you've said that they are. So I don't want my tax dollars going for it. To me, every time somebody starts telling me that we have a shortage of a career, all that means to me is that they're pushing for something to spend my tax dollars to train people that probably shouldn't be doing that, right? Like, that's all that matters to me.
The only time your tax dollars are getting spent in this situation is just to have people to overlook the immigration paperwork. Otherwise, the J1 visa and most visas
no.
Realize fraud.
No.
Welcome.
Hold on. Let me back up a minute. So you're saying that the Republicans are sponsoring a bill to import people on visas?
True.
Okay, so you missed my point. I want to go back and make my point again. If the Republicans are sponsoring a bill to pay for people to go to medical school or to recruit doctors, then I have a problem with that because that's my tax dollars being spent for something that corporations and hospitals and for-profit entities should be paying for. If those doctors if we are actually missing that many doctors, there would be a hole and a hospital would be there to fill it. Yes. I don't need my tax dollars to do that.
Yes.
This is the logic. This is the logic hole that I'm falling into. You're telling me that we're short X number of people. You know what happened when we had a pilot shortage? The airlines paid people a lot of damn money to go to pilot school. That's what happened when we had a pilot shortage. And now we don't have a pilot shortage. I mean, they say we do. We don't. Now we have an airplane shortage. We don't have enough airplanes for pilots to fly because of Boeing. But that's beside the point. I don't believe that there's a doctor shortage because if there were, every single hospital, would be sponsoring doctors and paying for them to go to medical school.
Well, it's not every doctor. These primarily take place more in rural areas. Rural areas are the ones that are having the problems with the doctor shortage. If you look, 80% of the country doesn't have a special.
Hold on.
Look it up, man. I'm not going to give you basic definition.
Hey, hold on.
80% of the counties. 80% of counties in this country lack a specialized infectious disease expert. So
I'm
shaking it out.
Why does the rural? Hold on, Tyler.
Wrong.
I disagree with that. You don't need an infectious disease expert in a rural county. That's what we have. That's why we have helicopters. That's why we have ambulances. That's why we get people. So the way it works here, I understand. Probably in New York, they don't understand this. Washington, D.C., they don't understand this. I live in a rural area.
RTARs, bro.
If I have a problem, right? If you get bit by a tick, you have Lyme disease, and you need an infectious disease expert, you don't stay at your local hospital. You get moved to Vanderbilt and Nashville, where they have the best facilities on the fucking planet.
That is right.
You don't. That's how this works. We don't have a we don't need to pay an infectious disease expert to sit around on his ass in the county and suck up tax dollars. We don't need that. We don't have that's not a shortage.
Well, I gotta wonder too, since we brought up the
shortage. How
the shortage is the lack of jobs that are full. It's projected to be 86,000.
But that's a projection made by a government that doesn't bear anything in reality.
It was a private study
because you couldn't.
Then it gets even worse because it doesn't have any bearing in reality. Again, we don't need an infectious disease expert to sit on his ass out in fucking Bedford County.
Why do I need to pay
Vanderbilt?
Hey, stupid guy! Could you let the adults talk real quick? The shortage. Yes, you are. You're drooling a puddle in your lap.
I don't understand the shortage thing. I don't understand.
I'm trying to explain it.
Please explain it because I need you to explain it because I don't believe this.
If we have a shortage projected in the next few years, is based on how many college students are going to college for a medical degree to become a doctor. That's how they're able to project it 8 years from now. Is how many people are signing up for college to
what is projections? Leftist projection, rightist projection. So you don't know
what. Well, hold on.
Can we just get him to shut up? Can you mute him or something?
Hold on one second. I've got
it. I'm not going to get muted because
you haven't added anything to this.
Guys, calm down. Let me put this in perspective again for you, Tyler. I really don't care what a government or think tank projection says. I'm telling you that I've lived in rural areas most of my life. We don't need an infectious disease expert. We don't need a bunch of these things that we're all of a sudden told that we need. What we need is, I tell you one thing we do need, life flight. We need more life flight. We actually just had a life flight helicopter crash a few weeks ago. We need that more than I need a doctor because there are plenty of doctors at Vanderbilt. When my kid, for example, when my kid had an issue with breathing, right? Because he has enlarged tonsils and then he got a cold. He got a very specific type of cold. It inflamed his tonsils. He couldn't breathe right. The nurse was an idiot. The local nurse was an idiot. Didn't understand how the breathing treatment should work. Sent us to Vanderbilt. For us, it was a simple 20-minute, 30-minute ambulance ride to Vanderbilt. Done deal. This is how this is supposed to work in America. We don't need a level 1 trauma surgeon out in Bumfuck Egypt.
Well, you don't even need a doctor. Like around here in a lot of rural areas.
Okay, hold on. I want to hear from Clovertack. He's been very quiet.
The way that it works in a lot of rural areas is you have a physician's assistant, not a doctor, right? But that physician's assistant works under a doctor.
That's bullshit.
So this idea that we need a doctor in every single place, in every single town, in every single county, why? When you've got access to medical care,
guys.
If it requires a higher level physician of sorts, right? Then I mean they're working under that hierarchy that they send you up to whatever specialist or whoever you need to go see.
This sounds like another money grab to me.
General care.
No, he's right.
General care physicians are much different than specialists. And
he's correct.
All you really need in a rural area is a general care physician.
But after a certain point, there's
No,
almost
how
so
do
much
you
the PA can
take-
do. A PA
Right.
only
But we're
has
not
some
talking about a
authority.
PA. We're talking about a GA.
That's what he said. A doctor's assistant.
Yeah. I
No,
said
no.
a
He said a
physician
general practitioner.
Practice.
No,
Yeah,
I
but
said
he
a
did say-
physician's assistant.
General.
He said a PA, a physician's assistant.
But
Yeah,
a physician's assistant can practice general medicine.
generally, but there's only so much authority
Okay,
they have. They can't prescribe certain
I would
things
say
that
I would
are
say a
the
general
doctor can.
practitioner.
They can't.
nothing,
They
though.
they can't, but they can appeal
You
to
can.
the authority, which is the doctor they're under, to do that.
But you're saying that those
And
areas
not
don't
just
need a
and
doctor.
not just physician's assistants
Your
can do this,
doctor
but my
told you this?
my sister-in-law is a nurse practitioner, and it
Mhm.
works exactly the same way.
I understand that, but you're saying
That
those
doesn't
areas
matter.
don't need a doctor. You're saying they only need a PA, but then you're also admitting that the PA has to appeal to the authority, which is the doctor
There's
that you're saying they don't
circumstance.
need.
They don't need them in that
Circumstance on
immediate
individual.
position. Would that
Right.
be a
Well,
better
hold on,
way to
hold on.
put
Let
it?
me-
As an individual.
I want to tie this all back in. So to me, Tyler, this seems like yet another money grab by government. We don't
Right.
need these
Yes,
doctors.
yes.
If we needed them, there would be a corporation somewhere. There would be a for-profit business. Every
Extra
hospital's
pay.
for profit. You understand it? There are no government-owned hospitals except for the VA.
I don't see
And so-
money going to the government, though.
There should
is
be
the
no
point.
government involved.
I don't want
in-
any money to go to the government,
There's
Yeah,
none going to the government.
but there is.
All the
Our
only
tax
government-
dollars fund all
No
of these
government
programs.
on,
Where do you think the
medical.
funding's coming
The
from?
only tax dollars being spent here are on the employees to check over the visas
No government on
that you
medical.
have
That's
to pay
impossible.
for. No,
you just
have to
said
pay
that they
for-
were paying.
No,
You went
it
through
is
the immigration
possible.
process.
That's
I'm
what we
going through
did
the immigration
before-
process. as
Okay,
well.
hold on. Let's make sure we're talking about the same thing.
You went through the immigration process. I'm going through it as well. When you do the immigration process, you have to pay
What?
for the entire process of
Yes.
your visa.
Yeah, I want to make sure we're talking about the same
Immigration how?
Hold on. Let me
You're
make
so
sure
lost,
that,
dude.
let me talk. Hold
Yeah,
on, Tyler. I want to make sure we're talking
I'm
about
so
the same
far ahead of you, you don't understand
So
where I'm lost.
Hold on. Yeah. I want to make sure Tyler and I are talking about the same thing. When a government study says we need all of these doctors, they're not talking about just bringing them in on an H-1 visa or a J-1 visa. That's not what they're talking about. They're not talking about that. They're talking about subsidies to have people educated in the U.S., for U.S. citizens included to some degree, but also these transplants who come here for medical school and using our tax dollars to fund those medical degrees. Am I wrong about that? Is that what the bill says, or is that not what the bill says?
I have to pull it up and read it. I didn't get that deep into it. I'll
I
take a look
think
for you.
I think the bill is basically another money grab, saying, well, we need all of these doctors. We need an infectious disease doctor. We need an emergency. All we really need are EMTs and life flight. And that's it, man. I'm telling you, I live in a rural area. CloverTech lives in a rural area.
You got no arguments, bro. It's argument.
So I want to make sure that we're not talking past each other, because if what you're saying is that all they want to do is they want to have this visa program to bring in doctors from other countries to be able to educate doctors here, but they have to work for X amount of time in hospitals here before they can return to their home country. That changes thing a little bit, right?
Right.
Because they have to work here before they can go back to their home country, but eventually they go back to their home country.
That's why we want them to stay. We want our J1s to stay, especially if you spend all that time training.
Why
them
is
in
there so many?
No, I don't think so. I don't think we do.
Absolutely do. If you
I
spend
don't
all
think
this money,
I actually, so I had
training
a roommate in right when I've been out of college a few years, and I had a roommate for a while that he was from somewhere in Africa. I hate to say Ethiopia because it sounds so trite, but it probably was, or somewhere like that. And he came over here specifically to go to medical school, and he had gone into the military to try to become a citizen. And he was going to actually not, even though he was going to be a U.S. citizen, he was going to go back as his obligation to his country for paying for him to come to the U.S. was that he had to go back there. He could spend 2 years in the U.S. after his medical degree, but then he had to go back or owe a bunch of money. So I don't have a problem with that. I think that that's fine. But then again, I don't believe that we have this I think this is a cash grab.
What this bill does is increases the number of residency
100%
positions eligible
100%
for
cash
graduate medical education payments under Medicaid for qualifying
Yes,
hospitals.
it's a cash grab.
It just increases the number
Tell
of
me
residencies.
how.
There's a limited amount of legal residencies that you can do in a hospital.
Tell me
and they
how they
increase that
benefited
number.
us.
That's what the bill does.
Explain that.
It's
No.
it sounds like a
You
cash
just
grab.
said
There's no
Medicaid.
cash
and
being
Medicaid
spent.
is the government, though.
Medicaid is government tax money.
Yeah, they just
Billions of dollars in debt.
but this doesn't
Is
have
a
anything to
cash
do with
grab?
Medicaid.
That's
This
a
has
cash grab.
This has nothing to do with
Wrong.
Medicaid. This is saying it's upping the number of eligible
Right.
positions
Okay. Hold on. Let me
for residency.
Tyler, I know that you're looking at this in one way. I want to let me pivot you a little bit.
There's no
So
money.
what's happening? So the way that this works, they increase the number of residencies, which we don't need.
Fight me every day. I'll still do it.
But then when they increase that, they're paying for their salaries out of Medicaid, correct?
No, this is private hospitals. Private hospitals that accept Medicaid.
What is private?
Medicaid is
What is
regulated.
hospital?
Okay.
Let's go with
Okay.
basic.
All right.
Well,
so
then-
the Medicaid pays for the procedures that are done there, correct?
Medicaid pays for the Medicaid recipients.
Okay.
Yes.
And the doctors
Medicaid how?
are paid
That's
through the
government
hospital who
taxes, bitch.
bills Medicaid.
they may get some money from Medicaid. Yes. All
They're
this
not going to
does
get
is
some
increase-
money. They're going to get the majority of their income
this
from
in-
Medicaid.
Well, Medicaid pays less than private. So already hospitals are saying that Medicaid's bankrupting them. But all this does is increase the amount of residencies that it allows
Yes,
hospitals to accept
it
Medicaid to
allows
have.
hospitals
That's
to
it.
have more people
No
and
money.
bill
They're
more
a
money.
fucking joke, man.
No money exchange, no money, no
It
funding
is
needed for this bill.
Medicaid's going to be exchanged.
But
promise.
this bill is not asking for any funding. All it is doing is
There
changing
it
the number.
is.
All it's doing is changing the
I
number.
think
of
it's a
available
cash grab.
residencies.
I don't think it's good for us.
If the Trump administration's backing it, they're also backing my claim that we have a doctor's shortage. I don't know. Like,
I don't agree with the doctor shortage thing, but
I don't know why. Why would Trump lie?
I would.
Why would
Cons-
I-
I can.
I don't think
Well,
Trump's
I can concede.
administration.
I can
What is a
easily
lie?
concede that okay, there's a doctor
Explain.
shortage,
Explain this
but
game.
then I can also turn around and say, what the fuck does it matter? Because of what I just explained earlier. When you got nurse practitioners and physician
got nothing.
assistants, they can work under a
Yeah,
doctor.
average
You can
guy.
have less doctors because they've got 15 fucking people working under them.
Well, you're right.
Keep
but
keep
the
going. I'll be right back.
doctors actually are the
nothing average.
smallest of shortages. Once you start to get into all medical staff,
got
that up to
nothing,
about
bro.
2 million by the same study.
million
Up to
based
about
on
2
what?
million.
It's the
shortage.
smallest
that?
of the shortage, you said?
Yes, it's the smallest. Doctors being the most specialized are the smallest amount of the medical shortage we're facing. Yes.
Small list is what?
So at the end of the day, we're short PAs, we're short nurses, we're short all of these. And again, the Trump administration's backing what I'm saying. The Biden administration's backing what I'm saying. There's bipartisan legislation.
Hey,
Both parties are
You're
agreeing
saying
with this.
illegals took the positions and fucked over the Americans, right? That's what you're saying.
Nobody said that, you retard. You just
Oh,
can't
well,
keep up.
I don't know what you're talking about then.
I know you don't. It's been very
Yeah,
obvious. You don't know what a
well-
J1
Yeah, I haven't
visa
heard
is.
anybody mention illegals.
J1 how? J1 how? Explain it.
No,
Put it-
no. If you don't know what a J1 visa is, you shouldn't be talking to Papa about this type of stuff. You're not ready for it. You need to go do some research.
I'm so confused that you're fucking up my country. Yeah, I'm so confused.
So you said that the doctors were the
You
smallest.
got nothing.
They
You
say,
got no
right?
arguments, bitch.
So if the doctors are the smallest thing, is this only for doctors, or does this that you're
Exactly.
talking about
Well, it's
cover
called
You
the
going about
doctor
race?
shortage
You wanna
colloquially,
play around
but it is a medical
You got
shortage
nothing,
generally.
bitch.
About 2 million people. Hey, the adults are talking. Could you,
You gotta-
shut the fuck up?
So this
No, I am an
trickles.
adult.
This
Fuck
actually
this,
trickles
and I'm
down
here.
to nurses,
Oh, okay,
EMTs.
I can only hear
the things
one.
Grid was talking about as well.
Yes, exactly. And again, bringing in Indians and Filipinos primarily has closed the gap of shortage more than any action
Shortage
taken by
how?
private industry or U.S. government.
Short of what?
So I'm going to be honest with you. I do not have as big a
got
problem
nothing. You
with
got nothing.
the Indians or
Americans
the
are better.
Filipinos because they are not literal
Yeah, Americans
mental
are better.
midgets, right? Like they're not mental midgets. They can assimilate. I think the dentist that I use is Indian, I think, or something similar. He's from somewhere, and his kids went to West Point, so he has definitely assimilated. I don't have a problem with people that can come into this country, be a net positive, and assimilate. This is where I think a lot of the red pillars and a lot of the left, a lot of the red pillars and a lot of people on the right need to be very careful what they say. I have a problem with us bringing in mental midgets that cannot tie their shoes, who grape women, who literally just add zero positive value to my country.
Right.
All the while the left is claiming that we could have the next. You never know. That guy could cure cancer. No, he can't tie his shoes.
Average.
Trust me.
Are you American or are you not American?
That guy? He's American.
He's just troll. He's just asking.
So
You're right that there is bad vetting. I completely agree, especially in asylum and refugees.
But I don't think I think when you're dealing with hold on, Tyler. I'm going to push back one second. I'm going to push back on you 1 second before you launch into this, so that I don't have to do it later and make it look really bad.
We know what you are.
When you have a country that's 99% Sunni Islam, and we know that they're cousin fuckers, which leads to retardation. Literally, it's proven science.
That is right.
Not even making this shit up. That generation after generation after generation, they get stupider. It leads to high levels of lowering IQs and high levels of retardation. When we know that that's the truth, we know that is what happens. Why do you want those people here? What redeeming quality do they have that benefits my country besides fucking their cousins?
Well, that's the thing, is I don't care what country they're from. We give them all the same standard test, and if they pass it, it doesn't matter if they're from Somalia or England. If they can pass a certain test and hit a certain threshold, who gives a shit?
I don't know.
I just looked this up. 48% of Somali births are the result of incest. I was not aware it was that bad.
Welcome to
I
America,
tried to tell you.
That's pretty fucking bad. Like, holy shit.
So,
America, fucker.
Is there requirements for you to be able to support yourself while you're going to school and doing this? Because like that's a big. You said earlier, like why don't more Americans basically take advantage of their employer upping their education? And I would say that a certain percentage of those can't go to school, not because they couldn't afford the school if their employer paid it, but they're pulling time away from other things, which might affect how they pay their bills and right, or their family or whatever. So let's focus on the being able to support yourself while you're going to the school, right? If you bring in, and even if it's an American, but if you bring in people who's paying their bills, their rent, their water bill, their light bill, their other thing, their food while they're going to school? Are they only bringing, is that a part of it where they vet and these people have to be able to support themselves?
In order, so Grid and I have both been in the immigration system. Grid and I have both been in the immigration system here. So you have to, when you immigrate here, you have to have a sponsor, and that sponsor has to be able to financially support you for your time if you're going to school.
Yeah,
absolutely, it's all taken care of. The government doesn't have a hand in it.
Yeah, I'll get into that in just a second. I want to answer.
America is involved in anything, fucker.
Yeah, I want to answer a helping hound.
This Mexican here is making me anti-immigration, though. I'll tell you what, we should deport his ass.
Okay,
I'm not Mexican,
guys. I'm trying to.
American. Don't try to play games on.
Okay, Cholo, you should go back over the wall.
But Grid, in America, we give TV. Hey guys, I'm talking here. But Grid, in America, we give TV shows to our inbreds, polygamists, and dwarfs. Unfortunately, that's true, and we should not be fucking doing that. Stop watching that.
You want to play politics? You want to play?
That's really gross that we do that. By the way,
you got.
Now I'm going to be honest. There's a couple of things here. So like my wife is from China. She immigrated here legally, and it was very expensive for her to do so. She had to have the entire time that she was in the U.S. Clover tax question. The entire time she was here, she had to have a paid for plane ticket home. She could not be if she would be deported if she didn't have that, because you have to show intent or the ability to return home. Also, she had to have X amount of money in the bank. It could never drop below a certain level, or her status would be revoked. All of that sort of thing.
Nice.
Now, for most countries like China and the Philippines and England might be a little less strict.
You're the horror that I was fucking.
But other countries. But for most countries,
debate,
we have this requirement. But for other countries, we seem to not have that requirement.
Oh,
Bad vetting, absolutely. The Biden administration.
You got nothing.
And it was
You got
originally
nothing, bitch.
Obama's White House that did this. So Obama's White House is the one that lowered that and removed those requirements from specific countries, because they were disadvantaged and they couldn't, and so what it meant is that someone from China, you have to be wealthy to come here. You can't just be a normal human and come here. If from the Philippines, if you want, or Laos or Cambodia or Vietnam, if you want to come here to the United States as a student, you can, no problem. We'll give you the visa, but you have to have an X amount of money in the bank. You have to have a ticket home all the time. That standard should be across the board. We don't have that standard across the board anymore, and that is part of our problem.
I agree.
It is a huge
that the left wing wants to do immigration by compassion. I agree with you on all that. So my question for you is this: let's just accept the premise for one second. That you shut up, stupid. Let's accept the premise real quick.
You guys are closer than you think you are.
I'm just trying to. The dude hasn't said a single fucking fact this entire time.
He's like, so in Otis's defense, I don't think he has a good internet connection. So I think he's lagging a little bit, and he's been ill. He's been sick, and he's got cough syrup and whiskey flowing through him. So
that's probably, he's probably drunk because it's really incoherent. Anyways, let's accept the premise for 1 second that there is a doctor shortage.
So you're telling me it's a bad thing?
Hey, Papa's talking, kiddo. Shut the fuck up.
No, guys, just focus on the topic. Just focus on the topic, guys.
Alcohol is my dude.
It's okay. Wait, nobody's talking about it. Hey, stop it. Stick to the point. Move on.
So let's accept for the premise.
I've got to end the show pretty soon. I've only got like 12 minutes.
Shortage.
Yeah. Let's go with the doctor. Hey, let's go with the premise that there's no doctor shortage. Okay,
there is a doctor shortage. You're accepting that there is a doctor shortage just for the hypothetical question.
Okay, for the hypothetical, I will accept that there's a doctor shortage.
Would you then be in favor of saying, okay, these people overseas in these countries already have the degrees that they need to come in and be a PA immediately? Would you then say maybe we should give some taxpayer money to bring them over here?
What's the degree?
No, but I'm okay with the. If there's an actual doctor shortage, if hospitals cannot get enough doctors, that means they have budget to pay the docters, and they should be bringing those people over.
Right.
They should be sponsoring those people. There's nothing in there's. I can't get to any point where I can say
grow a beard, bitch,
that doctors need to be paid for by the government of the United States, except in the military. Beyond that, with the amount of money that we spend in health insurance, with the amount of money the American taxpayer pays in taxes,
on health,
we absolutely no.
All right, just curious. I just think
that's a hard line in the sand for me. Even if I accept that there's a doctor shortage, which I don't.
No. That's what I'm saying. Like, so would you accept, let's say we're short on hospitals, and a company that makes hospitals overseas says they'll come build a hospital here. Would you be in favor of giving a tax cut?
No.
Explain.
No.
Explain.
But no, because we have companies here that build hospitals, right? Yeah. Like I'm truly America first. I really am truly America first. I tried for decades to marry an American woman. Unfortunately, I had to go for an import, right? But she was already here. I didn't have to go to buy one.
America. Fuck you.
So, but at the end of the day, I am truly like, I don't believe in our government paying for these things.
No, this would just be a tax cut. Like, we'll give you a 10% tax cut on federal taxes.
Well, I mean, they did that with Nissan, right? Like we gave them the land property tax free for, and
then they come over here, they make American jobs, they contribute to the American. It's an American industry.
But the thing is I think that we export more of our healthcare than we do anything else. We send people all over the world. But I do agree with Ghost 1978 that we should give Americans the incentives first, right? Like you can't tell me of all the people in America, with all the qualified people out there, that they're not people that can be doctors and take that training before we give that training to the people from the Philippines or people from India.
Good.
My
Sense,
issue is
You
my
got
issue
nothing.
becomes one that I don't think I think that Americans are not fitting a criteria that is meant to exclude Americans.
Where has government been better when they involve themselves? Average.
Well, even if we're talking about private companies, which is what Tyler is saying, and Tyler is saying that private companies
Tyler doesn't know
can use the immigration system to hire people from the Philippines or whatever.
He says you're talking about illegal shit. That's a different story.
But okay, but what he's saying is that he's talking about that you've got people in the Philippines that we can hire and bring them over. Why wouldn't we do that? My question is my point simply is that we have American people here right now today that are being excluded from those programs. And my personal slant would always be that we need to give those people the first shot at it.
We are providing Americans a tax-based non-accountability, but we want to put accountability to Americans, and they're bitching about it. That's what it is today.
Well, shouldn't we not just give that opportunity to Americans, but also maybe even at some point, if the idea of a shortage is indeed true, incentivize Americans as well?
So I should incentivize a non-productive individual in America? You tell me that?
Yeah. I mean,
holy shit, he made a good point.
You're private. You're private. You can do whatever you want.
Hold on, guys. I've only have a few minutes left here. Tyler, real world example. I know two doctors right now that are nearing retirement age that cannot sell their practice.
Fuck you.
Give me 1 second. My wife's calling me.
At the end of the day, I'm looking at this right now. Those private companies that offer free training, free medical school,
anybody can be a company.
Do not get used up every year. There's not enough Americans applying for these jobs to fill what
because
they're not even taking all the fun.
Well, maybe could it be a marketing? Could it be a way it's marketed and the way it's put out, though, Tyler? Generally, just not effective at letting know the incentives.
Generally, what people say is they don't like the hours. 60 hours to 70 hours a week.
Then that's a society problem, right? Like that's
nobody wants to work 70 hours a week.
Like you're a lazy fuck.
Average
70 hours a week.
Yeah, but you got to look at what you're giving for what you're getting in return. You're getting a free education as a fucking doctor, right?
When you spend your time with your family,
I get it, but that's the conversation we had earlier, right? That's exactly, I agree with you. That's why a lot of people don't do that. It's because it's not conducive to their way of life, or they can't pay their bills and do other things. Plus, go to school. But as a private company, wouldn't you figure out a way to market it or adjust those incentives accordingly in order to get those people in?
So fuck you.
So I'm just saying we provide these incentives already for U.S. workers, and they're not being used to their maximum.
No, we don't provide this at all.
We'll figure out why they're not being used, right? Yeah. Like you can't answer that because we're spitballing the hypothetical.
All I have is opinion polling.
But that's what I'm saying. Why don't we focus on why the Americans aren't doing it, and then maybe it's just a matter of adjusting numbers, or like you say, adjusting some hours.
The biggest is adjusting hours, and the only way to adjust hours is to get even more, to hire even more. So we need twice as many nurses to make it so they only work 40 hours a week.
Well, actually, I actually think that, and this is something
competent.
Hold on. So there's something I think that we're missing here, and I don't have time enough to get into it too much right now because I have to go, but I have to end the show. But the nursing situation is really interesting because we have a massive number of nurses,
competence,
and so and it seems like that we have less and less people wanting to go to medical school because it's less attractive to do so financially and otherwise. So maybe that's a more important discussion to have. As far as why Americans are not sending people to medical school anymore, it's probably because they aren't getting subsidies. They aren't getting the things that that help out. We have a doctor that's usually on in my nighttime show, Arthur Daya, and she she graduated with like $300 something thousand in debt. So that that's a lot to be in debt. And why would you want to do that? Hey, what's up, Mo Rebuttal?
Had a lawyer degree, and they're still retarded.
Hey, Mo.
Case closed.
All right, so I've got 4 minutes left. I'll give everybody a final statement, and then you gotta go. I'll start with you, sorry, Otis.
Yeah, just what it is, man. Just what it is.
I appreciate you coming up, by the way. I know you're sick. I know you're not feeling well.
No, fuck. Just horrible on the leftist, man. Just horrible. I fight this every day. Let me know. I
get it, man. It's tough, especially when you're in California.
Yeah, just bad. It's just bad here, man. It's bad.
Well, I hope you feel better. And all right, Tyler. Gosh.
No, again, at the end of the day, we're offering these incentives. People aren't taking the jobs. We're already extinguishing this, and every year they're not getting used up. So at the end of the day, our medical field would be drastically more depleted if we were importing groups of people who only make up 5-6% of the United States population, but take up about 20 to 25% of medical field jobs. They are drastically overrepresented in these fields, and Americans don't want to work there. If you want to make it more suitable for Americans, you got to make it a 40-hour-a-week job. And to do that, you probably have to double the amount of nurses, since they're working 60, 70 hours on average right now. So the way to get more people is to bring in more people if you need them immediately. Even making them homegrown, that's 10 years, and that still doesn't address the fact that people aren't going to school for this. They don't want to go to school for 10 years to make a certain amount of money. The Democrats are just going to tax out of your fucking pockets, and you're just making as much as everybody else, but working way harder with all these strict regulations and more hours. You have to make the job more conducive for Americans. The only way to do that is to solve the shortage problem. But again, Democrats and Republicans both agree on. So I don't think there's anything more enlightened centrist than that. So anyone that's calling me a leftist is obviously fucking retarded.
Hey. All right, Clover Tack.
What do you want me to say?
I don't know. Whatever you're like.
I'm in here with intellectual debating giants, and honestly, that's something I don't give a fuck about. It's the debating thing. Okay. So how about this? Fuck the federal government and America.
Absolutely. All right. Helping Hound helps me out with the last with a nice sentiment. We have plenty of nurses. They even have time to twerk on vulnerable patients for TikTok. I have not seen that video, but I have heard about it. It's disgusting. It's weird. All right, guys. It's been a good show. I've got to get the fuck out of here. I got things to do. Got a busy day, and you guys are going to go over and hang out with Jim Bob, and I think you're talking about. I think he's reviewing the Morgan Fuentes debate, and that'll be fun for you guys. And you guys have a great rest of your day.